wind gusts as well as a few tornadoes possible before 6 a.m. on Sunday.
56 degrees right now in Hapeville, 52 in Johns Creek, 57 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 9:05. More news at 9:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Jed Hickenbotham, 95.5 WSB.
Do you think people in Hapeville get pumped when Judge shouts out their temperature at the end of the newscast?
I always hope so.
I was a kid watching TV news, we had 3 channels, and when Hilton Catterley, who was the meteorologist for the CBS station in Hartford, when he'd say, it's going to be 12 in Torrington, we'd be like, yeah, Torrington! That's a lot of pressure, Judd.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I try to go all over the city. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to Hapeville. Welcome, friends, this Thursday edition of the Mark Arum Show. We got a biggin' for you today. Possible government shutdown looms. We're going to check in with ABC's Ali Pecorin in D.C. with the latest. Robert Berger joins us live from Jerusalem in 30 minutes, not just updating the Israel-Hamas situation, but the supreme leader of Iran says he is not willing to negotiate with the United States of America. 1 hour from now, this is a massive local story in scope, size, and money. A proposed $9 billion data center. $9 billion, hundreds of acres down near LaGrange. A huge local story. The economic impact there could be huge. Savannah Ciccarella from the AJC is going to join us in an hour. 10:35, our main dude, the travel guru, Peter Greenberg, is going to join us. And so much to talk about. We've got updates in the Russia-Ukraine talks. Going to be watching the stock markets again. President Trump just threatening, not announcing, 200% tariff on wine, champagne, and alcohol from the European Union. It's just got real for all the wine drinkers out there. If you've been getting your stuff from Italy, from France, we're mostly drinking Willamette Valley wines now in the Arum household. That's it, right? An Oregon wine area.
Oregon Trail?
Or not the Oregon Trail. Well, maybe. I don't know. We went out there last year for spring break to visit my buddy, and we did the wine tour, and I signed Maya up for this wine club. So we get, this case of Willamette Valley. They're very good. Anyway, possible 200% tariff on wine and champagne from France. We'll update that in just a second. But I want to start with, it's a Doge-related story, but it's really more of a Social Security story, something that I'm hoping is still around when I can withdraw it. I don't even know how soon I can, but I hope it's still there. I know Longoria and Judd and Deborah, we've been paying into Social Security for a long time, but obviously Doge trying to make some cuts. But this was an interesting story this morning, Deborah. What can you tell us?
As Doge makes more cuts, they're taking aim at Social Security now. They're considering cutting off their toll-free phone service and shifting to everything kind of a self-serve portal online. Now, the concern of this, of course, is the elderly generation who may not be as tech-savvy, or even people that live in rural areas that do not have connectivity to really get online. Social Security offices says about 40% of their claims are done over the phone, so this would be a big effect.
Wow. 40% of the claims are now. I'm all for cutting government waste, fraud, and abuse. Let's do it. Cut it to the bone. But if you think of who's getting Social Security right now, boomers and up. I'm thinking of Longoria. Your grandmother's still alive, which is which is remarkable. In her 90s, I'm assuming.
Late 80s.
Late 80s. All right, look at that. I imagine she doesn't have a Mac. And she's not on the internet, like very internet savvy.
She has an old school computer.
And even then, it's tough. And as Deborah mentioned, internet is not everywhere. Not everyone has access to internet. I know of families here in the metro area, they don't have internet at home. So when their kids got to do homework, they got to take the tablet to like a Dunkin' Donuts or a McDonald's and get the free Wi-Fi there. I'm all for cutting government waste, fraud, and abuse, but you got to know your market, right? If 40% of questions that people have about their Social Security are answered via phone call, that would be one of the last things I would cut. Now, eventually, when Longoria, Deborah, and Judd and I hit that Social Security age, we're already tech savvy. In 10 years, 15 years, go ahead and start paring down the phone service for Social Security. But just think about Longoria's grandmother, and we'll assume for the sake of argument she doesn't have that old computer. I'll just say she's not on the internet, and she has a problem with her check. What is she going to do? Write a letter? I would would pump the brakes on cutting the phones for Social Security right now. Keep that, especially if that's a massive amount of the customer base using it. 40% of the issues. There's other places I'm sure you can cut in Social Security. Cutting the red tape and try to thin it down a little bit. I would say keep those operators running. Speaking of which, I was watching last night. Maya and I were having dinner. She made pasta bolognese, delicious as always. And we watch reruns of Gilmore Girls while we're eating dinner, just as background noise. And there was an episode where Luke, who's Scott Patterson, he's been on the show, he was calling information on a landline phone. And he's like, I need the number for Anna Nardelli in Woodbridge. And Maya goes, is information still a thing on the phone? And I said, it can't be, right? That used to be, I'm sure the younger generation don't even know what we're talking about. Was it 411, Deborah? I don't know what is. I think it's been so long since.
It was 411.
Is it?
Yeah, what's the 411?
What's the? All right. So I remember as a kid calling, using that all the time for whatever reason. Can I get the number for Pizza Hut on East Main Street? Like stuff like that. And I don't know if it was free or if you got charged, but the big leap forward technologically was at some point you could say, hey, give me the number for the Pizza Hut on East Main Street. And then all of a sudden they're like, the operator would be like, would you like me to connect you? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
and it was like,
yeah.
What? You can connect me too? Because otherwise you'd have to write down the number like 48272, whatever. And they're like, would you like me to connect you? Yes. And then you can get addresses too. Like I need the number and the address of the Pizza Hut on East Main Street in case you wanted to send. I don't know. Can we try that out? Can you do 411 on a cell phone?
I think you can.
Really?
I mean, we could try it.
Blue, do me a favor. You have a cell phone. Have you ever heard of 411?
Only in like a rhetorical sense.
Okay.
Like, let me get the 411 on that.
Do me a favor, if you can, go in one of the prod rooms and try to call 411, either on the landline or a cell, and just let me know if it's active.
All right, for sure.
That used to be a big, big part of, pre-call. Oh, it is? Yeah, all right. Well, I want to get some audio. We're going to get some audio from that because I want to see if it's still a thing and if it's still a free charge. There are centenarians, octogenarians listening going, of course it's still a thing, Aram. Of course 411 is still a thing. I used it yesterday to get the number of a florist. All right, when we come back, very quick break, very, very quick. When we come back, could we see a government shutdown in just 2 days? Like there's not enough stuff going on. Allie Picorn from ABC News joins us next on The Mark Aram Show.
In Atlanta, there is always something happening.
Tanker truck crashed into the median.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
No traffic getting through in either direction.
Helping you on your commute.
Avoid the area at all costs. Take Highway 155 or Highway 4223.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
One of the worst things about termites, they are silent destroyers. They could be eating your home right now and you'd never know, unless your termite service thoroughly inspects inside your home with the best termite technology. Mark Aram here for Breda Pest Management. When was the last time you actually saw your service inspect for termite damage? Let me guess, they just walked around outside and checked the bait stations. If termites are eating your house, how would they know just by walking around your yard? Better get Breda. Only Breda uses advanced infrared cameras, microwave technology, and a moisture meter for early detection. So you can continue to pay more every year for your current service to walk around outside or switch your termite protection to Breda and your rate is locked in for 10 years. Breda Pest Management, they handle bugs and critters like termites. BREDA Pest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Passion. It's the difference between getting it done and being exceptional. For your home's exterior renovation, hire a company passionate about your project. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus.
Hi, I'm Charlie. My passion for high-quality remodeling began when I started my business at just 15. Now we have grown to the Plus family of businesses. If you hear the Plus, it's us.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163. 3546.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter here from my good friends at PalmettoSleep.com. Let's talk about a serious business, sleep apnea. I suffer from it, and whether you've been diagnosed with it or afraid you have it, I have the solution. Palmetto Sleep is here to give you your life back. They make it easy to get help for sleep apnea because living without a good night's sleep is simply no way to live. Palmetto Sleep offers a custom-fitted oral appliance that opens your airway so you naturally breathe the way nature intended. The best part is they offer virtual consultations and in-home sleep testing. No overnight stays at a sleep center. Plus, Palmetto Sleep has all the doctors that you will need. Most appointments are virtual, and it's all covered by your private medical insurance. Don't suffer from another sleepless night or daytime fatigue like I do. Visit PalmettoSleep.com now. Visit PalmettoSleep.com. That's PalmettoSleep.com.
9:17 on the Mark Arum Show. Checking delays downtown. Live to Atlanta's only 24-hour traffic center. Here's Mike Shields.
Yeah, still there for sure with the brake lights, Mark, on 7585 northbound, leaving 166, getting past I-20 through the Grady Curve. Looks like we have some trouble 75 southbound, just south of Northside Drive, right before 17th Street. We're seeing the jam came around for that. And roadwork setting up into Cobb County, 20 eastbound, approaching Wesley Chapel Road. Left lane blocked to the CD lanes. This support is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Mike Shields, 95.5 WSB.
Happy 86th birthday, Neil Sedaka. This is Laughter in the Rain, one of his later hits. Deborah, is this considered, what is this? Easy listening, disco? What's Neil Sedaka? What genre would you say? Yacht rock?
I guess they call it maybe adult contemporary. It could fall into the yacht rock category, but yeah, like pop rock, sure. Neil Sedaka.
Maybe an underrated generation of music, that 70s kind of easy listening and stuff. Anyway, 86 years old, Neil Sedaka. Happy birthday. All right, this is a big story. Joining us from ABC News in Washington, D.C., it's Allie Picorn. Allie, good morning. Huge victory for Speaker Mike Johnson earlier in the week, getting the budget through Congress. We finally heard from Democrats yesterday. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. What did the Minority Leader have to say about the deal?
Yeah, big win for Mike Johnson, but a short-lived one at that, because unlike in the House of Representatives, where Johnson has the power to push things through using only Republican support, the Senate does not work that way. So even though Senate Democrats are the minority over on the other side of the Capitol building, they do need to furnish at least 7 votes to move the House bill forward. And yesterday, Minority Leader Schumer made waves when he said that right now Democrats are not prepared to give Republicans those votes to move that bill through. So here we we are, a little over 2 days to a government shutdown, and there is some very serious concern that there is not going to be a clear path forward in how to avert a possible shutdown. Now, I should say 2 days is a long time for a deal to come together to bring Democrats over, but if one isn't struck, we could be looking at a shutdown for the first time in a few years.
Did Schumer offer a counter proposal, something that the Democrats could get on board with?
Democrats say that what they want is a 30-day clean extension of government funding, basically saying, let's just keep the government funded the way that it's been funded for 30 more days. And what Democrats are hoping to accomplish with this is that appropriators could get together behind the scenes, have a little bit more time to negotiate, and hopefully strike a deal for new funding levels for the fiscal year 2025. That takes us through the end of September. That's what they say they want to do. But if we're being very realistic about the situation before us, that sort of proposal is not going to have time to pass and probably doesn't have the Republican support to pass. The House of Representatives has already left Washington, D.C., and they're not expected to come back until after this shutdown deadline. Meanwhile, Republicans in the Senate, they don't really see the need to support this 30-day extension. That's not really what they want. And since Democrats are in the minority, they can't really force the Senate to vote on that bill. That said, they might be able to get some sort of deal struck with Majority Leader John Thune to have a vote on an amendment in exchange for their letting the larger House bill through. But really what we're looking at here is a choice for Democrats, either vote to support this House bill or vote to shut the government down.
Allie Pecorn from ABC News joining us on the Mark Arum Show. So, I mean, I don't see how we do not have a government shutdown, Allie, because, Congress, the House of Representatives already left town. And if there are any changes to this, it would have to go back to the House to get approved. So if the Democrats vote no on this, I mean, give me an off ramp for us not to have a government shutdown in 2 days.
Yeah, I should say 2 days is a very long time in the world of Senate negotiations. I know it doesn't seem that way to us normal people who would want more than 2 days to secure our financial stability, but here on Capitol Hill, there's still a lot of time for deal making. So it seems possible that Democrats could be brought over to furnish the necessary votes to support this bill if it means that they get something in exchange, which is likely going to be a vote on their proposal, this 30-day extension, that won't ultimately pass. What we are trying to gauge out right now is whether Democrats would be satisfied with that arrangement. If they get a vote on their proposal and it doesn't pass, would they be satisfied enough to go ahead and let the House bill through, or would they not be? Now, if they're not, and there's not a way to leverage Democratic support, then we really could be looking at a shutdown. But there is some division within the Senate Democratic caucus right now about what the right path forward here is, because there are a number of Democrats who are very concerned that if they allow the government to shut down, it would give President Trump, Elon Musk, the Office of Management and Budget, a lot of unilateral authority to determine what federal workers are getting laid off during a period of time where federal workers are already getting laid off.
Interesting. Have we heard from any Democrats that have said they might vote to pass the budget bill, or is it pretty been unanimous from Leader Schumer that there are no firm yes votes yet from Democrats?
Democrats are very tight-lipped about this, and part of the reason for that is that because they have sort of this Sophie's choice in front of them, a lot of them don't want to lay out a path forward that would sort of burn colleagues who make the opposite decision, right? So we don't yet know who would be in your camp of yes votes, and the universe of people who would potentially vote to help advance this thing will be determined largely by what sort of deal is struck to bring them over, right? And so there's going to be a lot of negotiation happening behind the scenes over the next couple of days to figure out what sort of deal might sweeten the pot for Democrats to sort of come over and support this. I think there's a very good possibility that Democrats will ultimately furnish the votes to at least allow Republicans to get on to voting for this bill, to pass it with just Republican support, but we're going to have to see how they ultimately play this.
Allie Pecorn, ABC News. Great insight as always, Allie. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
I'm not optimistic that we are not going to see a government shutdown. I don't know how many Democrats, and I don't know if we've heard from our Georgia Democratic Senators Ossoff and Warnock on what they plan to do, but you need seven Democrats to go along with this deal. And I don't know what the political calculus is. Do they want to at all costs just derail President Trump in his second term? Even though we've heard from pretty much every Democratic senator in the past when Republicans were threatening a government shutdown, how bad it would be for the nation, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. And the House of Representatives gone, which is weird. They're gone, and we have 2 days to negotiate it. Allie seemed to think that, maybe that could happen. I'm dubious. I am dubious. And maybe part of the Trump administration wouldn't mind the government being shut down for a little bit, right? Like, you want to cut government spending? Shut the whole puppy down. I don't know. We'll obviously follow the story here, but if I were a betting man, I'd say, yeah, we're going to have a shutdown for a little bit at least. But who knows? We'll see. Fetterman probably votes yes. Trying to think of any more moderate Democrats that might vote yes. Again, they need 7 Democratic votes to get this through, assuming that every Republican votes. All right, I got an update on the wine tariff I just told you about. Let's go up to the White House. Elena Train just updating this breaking news story. What can you tell us, Elena?
This is actually, one, not totally unexpected, given if you've listened to what the president has said repeatedly. He really, and when I talk to Trump administration and White House officials, they essentially say that they believe that the president is right to put these tariffs on these different countries, and if they're going to retaliate with tariffs of their own, that he's going to punch back several times harder. And that is what we are seeing today with this announcement in this Truth Social post. I just want to read a little bit for you. He said he would impose a 200% tariff on alcoholic beverages from the EU. He said if this tariff is not removed immediately, that's the 50% tariff, that the European government had put on United States goods following the tariffs that Trump had initially placed on all steel and aluminum coming to the United States. He said if this tariff is not removed immediately, the U.S. will shortly place a 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, and alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU represented countries. He went on to argue that this would be great for the wine and champagne business in the United States. But look, I think this approach that the president and his administration is taking shows just how quickly some of this tariff policy can get out of hand. We are really seeing this not only stop and go approach, but also this tit for tat retaliation back and forth with a lot of these different allies of the United States that are beginning to really not only obviously affect the markets, which we have seen on a downward spiral for the last couple of days now, but also the relationships that the United States have with these different trading partners. Now, I do also want to point out, though, how Donald Trump sees this as a negotiating tactic. He made that very clear yesterday in the Oval Office, and part of that negotiation we are going to see continue today when Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and the United States Trade Representative Jameson Green is going to meet with some of Canada's top officials.
All right, there you go. 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, and alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU-represented countries. That's the Truth Social post from President Trump. Elena Treen just outside the White House moments ago. Still to come, how the aluminum tariff that we are applying could impact beer drinkers. Deborah will have that story. But next, after news, weather, and traffic, live to Jerusalem. Robert Berger, CBS News, live next on The Mark Arum Show.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Thanks. Got my seat cushion, crossword puzzle, and can't forget the hand sanitizer. Okay, show me the waiting room.
No need for all that. You can stay in your car.
I'll stay in my car? Get out.
Yep, you stay in. It'll just be 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Get out.
Go ahead, sit back and relax.
Well, I guess I'll save all this for the DMV. If only they took 10 minutes, am I right? I'm sorry.
Take 5. The stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
If you're a longtime Atlanta resident, I don't have to tell you, weather in March goes bananas. Hey, it's Mark Arum here. Spring thunderstorms rolling in, rain, wind, even hail. Want you to get your roof ready for these storms. Dr. Roof here to help you. Check out their March specials at drroof.com. That's drroof.com. Roof repair, roof replacement, heck, even siding and windows. They do it all. Be prepared this crazy March. Go to drroof.com, drroof.com.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, maybe even your kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Don't let divorce take more than it has to.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Atlanta area attorneys. 404-793-0000. 1 Glen Lake Parkway Northeast, Suite 975, Atlanta, Georgia 30328. Joseph Cordell, Principal Partner. CordellCordell.com.
There aren't many things more precious than your engagement ring. The start of your love story, a symbol of your commitment that you get to treasure every day. Have you ever thought about breathing new life into that ring? At D. Geller & Sons Spring Bridal event, we're bringing the most exclusive names in engagement and wedding ring design to you with their full assortments. Come to D. Geller & Son for the ultimate ring shopping experience next weekend, March 21st through 23rd in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 9:30. I'm Jed Hickenbotham. Our top story this half hour. The investigation continues this morning after an overnight fire at a South Fulton condominium complex with a checkered past.
Firefighters responding to a call at the Camelot condominiums on Old National Highway are able to extinguish the flames. No word at this time of injuries, though the Red Cross is assisting several families escaping with just the clothes on their backs.
I could just pray for the people, whoever that was over there, just pray to God that nobody got hurt.
Jonathan Lane tells Channel 2 Action News he saw flames shooting through the roof. Dozens were displaced by a December fire at another building in the same complex. And a criminal case arose from a 2020 fire after two members of the Homeowners Association allegedly pocketed insurance money intended for fire victims. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
It's 57 degrees right now in Midtown Atlanta. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards continues to track the real threat of severe weather this weekend, mainly Saturday night into Sunday morning. We could see rain today as well. Otherwise, look for cloudy skies, high over 70 degrees. Atlanta's most accurate, dependable forecast is coming up. President Trump's pick to lead the Atlanta-based CDC, former Congressman Dr. David Weldon, goes before a Senate confirmation hearing on Capitol Hill in about 30 minutes from now.
He's expected to be grilled by Democrats who have attacked Weldon over his record criticizing vaccines and for trying to strip vaccine review from the CDC's authority.
Now, reporter Alexander Ten says Weldon would likely be a key ally for Health and Human Services head Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's also promoted past theories that vaccines are linked to autism. Despite the wild swings on Wall Street this week, J.P. Morgan says it is not likely that the U.S. is heading toward a recession.
Strategists with banking giant J.P. Morgan Chase note that credit markets, which were proven right on several occasions over the past couple of years, are again more dismissive of the possibility. They point out while small-cap stocks, which have greater sensitivity to domestic growth, are pricing at a 50% probability of a recession, credit markets imply a 9 to 12% probability. I'm Bloomberg's Scott Carr for 95.5 WSB.
Well, the head of Clayton County Senior Services is in Washington, D.C., asking for more federal money to help older Americans stay socially engaged. Tori Strauder-Tanks tells the Senate Special Committee on Aging that too many senior center residents feel lonely.
If we are really serious about combating senior isolation, we must expand funding for senior centers and other aging services.
New research from the National Poll on Healthy Aging finds a third of Americans ages 50 to 80 feel lonely and isolated. And while vehicles are considered much safer each year with more technology, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety cuts its number of top safety picks from 71 last year to just 45 this year. Institute President David Harkey says they made the test tougher.
We're really emphasizing how to protect those occupants in the rear seats of vehicles.
Mazda has the most vehicles getting safety honors. Harkey notes, though, not many minivans or pickups make the cut this year. It's 9:33 as we check your money. A mixed bag on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow opens down about 85 points. S&P is up. The NASDAQ is up at the moment. Now live team coverage of traffic and weather. Start the WSB 24-hour traffic center and Mike Shields.
It's that time of the morning where we see roadwork set up across Metro Atlanta. That's what we have in DeKalb County now. I-20 eastbound at Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68. The left lane taken out in the CD lane, so delays back onto I-285 northbound, ramping onto I-20 eastbound. And heads up if you're making your way to the airport this afternoon. Roadwork set up now, 285 southbound. The outer loop just past Highway 166, exit 5. That has a right lane blocked. I'm Mike Shields, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies today, high 72. Pop-up showers and thunderstorms for the afternoon and evening hours. Lows tonight in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high 75. Saturday, a few rain showers in the morning. Then the line of strong to severe thunderstorms arrive between 10 p.m. on Saturday through 6 a.m. on Sunday. Damaging wind gusts and a few tornadoes possible early Sunday morning.
It is 56 degrees right now in Mountain Park, 51 in Holly Springs, 57 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 9:34. More news at 10. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Jed Hickenbotham, 95.5 WSB.
When the news matters to
The
you,
massive project at 285 and Georgia 400 has been a big improvement.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The latest incident comes when a SWAT team is called after a suspect.
Your 24/7 news
They
source.
had no ties to a gang.
When you need the story, all you need to do is listen. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station.
Still to come, in-depth coverage on the Ukraine ceasefire talks. What about the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas? We go live to Jerusalem in 2 minutes on the Mark Arum Show.
Tackle your spring cleaning list with Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning Spring Sale. Mention me, Chris Chandler, and get 3 rooms for $129 plus a free hallway. Book online at ZeroResAtlanta.com. Zero Res, it's the right way to clean.
O'Reilly. Stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Dallas on Ridge Road across from Publix now through March 25th for the grand opening sale. Get 2 times O Rewards points on all Armor All wipes. Plus, receive 2 times points on Valvoline Flex Fill Gear Oil, which means you can reach your next $5 reward twice as fast right now at your new O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Beaver Direct Certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with an industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at beavertoyotacumming.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
If you're approaching or in retirement, listen closely. The stock market has been volatile. Are you tired of seeing your retirement account nosedive? With so much going on in the world, how can you be confident that your retirement is safe? Let me show you how. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Retirement is meant to be enjoyed, but it's hard when you're not sure that your nest egg is safe. At Mitch Lyons Wealth, we wrote the book on protecting your retirement. It's called Retirement of Steel, and each of our clients enjoys a retirement of steel that can weather any storm. If you're not 100% sure that your retirement account is safe, contact us today for a complimentary review. Let's see if the strategies that we're using to help people retire confidently can work for you. I think you'd agree 40 years of working hard and saving for retirement is worth this call. Call 888-471-3896, 888-471-3896, again 888-471-3896. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Has your driveway, sidewalk, or patio cracked and become uneven? AquaGuard Foundation Solutions can fix it. Simply book your appointment online at aquaguard.net and AquaGuard will quickly and expertly get it back in shape. Concrete issues? Remember, AquaGuard.
9:37 on this fast-moving Thursday. Welcome back, friends. Mark Arum and crew with you till noon. In about 10 minutes, Taisha Fernandez from Channel 2 is going to join us live in studio, updating the tragic boating accident on Lake Oconee. Again, Taisha Fernandez live in studio in just a couple minutes. Right now, though, we go live to Jerusalem. Joining us from CBS Radio News, correspondent and our friend, Robert Berger. Robert, good morning. As always, thanks for your time.
Sure.
Before I get to the Israel-Hamas situation, seeing some reporting out of Iran that the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei says he doesn't want to negotiate with the United States because President Trump, quote, tore up the fully negotiated, finalized, and signed agreement. Any insight on that story, and what does that mean for the region?
Well, the question is whether President Trump has been pushing for talks with Iran and sent a warning, a letter that the Iranians just received yesterday saying, look, we can't allow you to get a nuclear weapon. We would rather have this done through talks, but if not, there is another option. He hinted at the military option and that Iran would pay a terrible price. Well, the Iran Supreme Leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, didn't really like that. He accused the U.S. of bullying. But having said that, we are seeing some conflicting signals come out of Iran where other officials have said that they might be open to talks with the United States.
Now, when the Ayatollah mentioned that Trump tore up the deal, that was he's referring to the Iran nuclear deal that was in place before Trump's first term?
Yes, it was, and then during Trump's first term, I believe it was around 2018 or so, Trump basically pulled out of the deal, which had been reached with Iran and the world powers to curb Iran's nuclear program, and Trump unilaterally pulled out of it. And since then, the Iranians have been really getting quite close to building a nuclear weapon. They've enriched uranium to over 60%, which is really more than you need for peaceful purposes. Of course, Israel especially, but also the United States and the West, they have strong suspicions that Iran is getting ready to build a nuclear bomb.
I know Israel does not want a nuclear-capable Iran, right? I mean, that's the nightmare, a nuclear weapon hitting Tel Aviv, just horrible. But I would imagine, like, the Saudis and Jordan and Egypt, they probably don't want Iran to have nukes either.
Absolutely. Obviously, I would say they don't feel quite as threatened by it as Israel does. You mentioned, it wasn't that long ago we saw these ballistic missiles flying from Iran at Israel. Imagine if one of those had a nuclear weapon. Well, Israel being a very small country could be destroyed. So Israel sees it as an existential threat. But those other countries that you mentioned in the Gulf and Saudi Arabia and Jordan and so on, they obviously don't want Iran to get a bomb either. But I think they're certainly not going to confront Iran directly, which Israel has threatened and is threatening to do through military action.
Robert Berger joining us live in Jerusalem on the Mark Arum Show. All right, back to Israel, Hamas. Where are we in the ceasefire deal? Are we still in that first phase? Are we in between phases 1 and 2?
Yeah, so the first phase ended a couple of weeks ago. There were 33 Israeli hostages released. 8 were dead, 25 were alive. And that covered phase 1, and they haven't been able to move on to phase 2 because it calls for an end to the war, which is something Hamas wants and Israel doesn't, because it doesn't want to end the war with Hamas remaining in power there. The problem is that there are still 59 hostages left in Gaza, of whom about 24 are believed to be alive. Israel wants to get them out, obviously. What they're trying to do now is maybe get an extension to phase 1 that would see the release of at least some hostages, but Hamas is still pushing for the overall deal, end of the war, and the release of all the hostages.
Robert, I saw this story pop yesterday. I didn't get a chance to discuss it. Maybe you can weigh in. Hearing that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to talks on the border, that would seem to be a pretty big deal.
Well, there is some speculation. Donald Trump has talked a lot about a regional peace, extending the Abraham Accords, which during his first term in office, he brought in countries like the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain and Morocco and Sudan to establish diplomatic ties with Israel, and he wants to extend that. Of course, the big prize being Saudi Arabia, but now there is also talk of a possibility of getting Lebanon involved in that as well. Don't forget that Hezbollah had sort of established a state within a state in Lebanon, but they were largely damaged in the war with Israel, and there's a new government now in Lebanon, and I think the hope is that these talks on border issues could actually lead to normalization, though Lebanese officials say it's too early to discuss that.
Final question for you, Robert. Mideast envoy Steve Wyckoff's in Qatar today. Overall, what impact do you think the Trump administration is having in the regional talks?
Well, Witkoff has played a very important role. He got the first deal. He came over and basically told Prime Minister Netanyahu that President Trump wants this deal. And Israel went ahead and agreed to it somewhat reluctantly. And now they're pushing for the second phase of the deal. But, the U.S. is certainly backing Israel's position that Hamas has to end its rule over Gaza, and give up its weapons, which is something that Hamas wants to do. So he's there, has been there, I should say. Just by the way, he went off to Russia to actually deal with the Ukraine issue, and he's there now. So, but still, the Israeli delegation and Hamas delegations are still in Qatar trying to, broker at least a partial deal on the hostages.
Gotcha. Great stuff, as always. Robert Berger, CBS News in Jerusalem. Robert, thanks for your time. Stay safe,
Thanks,
buddy.
Mark.
There you go. All right, so a lot of movement there. That'd be great if we can get some sort of a negotiated peace between Israel and Lebanon. The poor Lebanese people, Hezbollah just basically took over their government, and Lebanon is such a beautiful country, and the people are so amazing. That would be phenomenal. All right, in case you missed the beginning of the show, I questioned whether 411 information was still a thing, something that I grew up with. You needed the number for the bowling alley or the pizza joint. You'd call 411 on the landline phone and say, hey, what's the number? And they'd give it to you, or they'd connect it. They'd give you an address. So I asked Blue to find out if 411 is still a thing. He grabbed this audio for us.
Welcome to the phone book. Please enter the first 3 letters of the entry you're looking for.
Oh, that's annoying.
No directory entries match your search. Please enter the first 3 letters of the entry you're looking for.
It's like Kramer on Movie Phone. Why don't you just tell me?
Why don't you just tell me what
the
you'd like to
So there's so there's no live. I guess that makes sense. You're not going to have live operators getting 2 calls a week.
Yeah, from an 80-year-old.
So what do
Mark Arum.
That would annoy me. So I call up information. I want the number for Pizza Hut, and I gotta hit PIZ.
Yeah.
That's
I guess
annoying.
So. And they're going to go through all the PIZs, like Pizza Hut, Pizza King, Pizza.
Yeah, exactly. That takes forever. Why don't you just tell me what movie you want to go see? All right, good stuff. Thank you, Blue. 411 is a thing, but it sounds really annoying. All right, quick break. When we come back, Taisha Fernandez from Channel 2, she has been covering that tragic Lake Oconee story from the beginning. She joins us live with the very latest next on The Mark Arum Show.
Everyone has an opinion.
Your baby is ugly.
Eric Von Hessler has an opinion.
I abhor violence. Unless it's on the football field, where it belongs.
And some advice.
A meme coin, of course, something I don't really understand. Don't ever buy one. There you go. I just gave you some great advice.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. Today we're talking with window and door experts Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum, owners of North Georgia Replacement Windows. Ted, can you explain how the Infinity fiberglass windows can give us more daylight and bigger views in our home?
Because our Infinity Ultrex fiberglass is so strong, the frames of our windows are thinner, which gives you more daylight and bigger views. Our windows are not big and bulky like other replacement windows.
What if someone wants a window where there isn't one already?
Fortunately, we're licensed general contractors, and we can help with that. Our windows come in both a new construction and replacement option, so we're always guaranteed to have the perfect fit for your home.
How do the Infinity fiberglass windows measure up when it comes to energy efficiency?
Infinity windows have super energy efficient glass that will lower your energy bills and protect your floors, window treatments, and home furnishings from fading out from the damaging sun's UV rays.
Jonathan, anything else you'd like to add?
Just remember, if you're replacing your old windows that are leaking and rotting, choose Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows, or you're giving up both daylight and views. And not only are our fiberglass windows more durable, they are truly beautiful windows.
Jonathan and Ted, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, experience, and expertise. Right now at North Georgia Replacement Windows, spring deals are blooming. You'll get 18% off your project, plus up to 24 months no interest, no payment financing. That's 18% off your project, and up to 24 months no interest, no payment financing. Be sure to visit our beautiful new showroom in Alpharetta, and don't forget to check out our website for all the details on these special financing offers and savings. Visit us today at ngwindows.com. That's ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
I keep talking about all the connected devices I have in my home and all of them hooked up to my Xfinity internet. Hey, it's Mark Arum here. I totally forgot, about the doorbell cameras and the dog cameras. I can't even imagine what my life would be without those. Those are game-changing inventions. The cameras at your front of your house in the backyard, not to mention the bird cameras that I have hooked up in the backyard. So many devices connected to my Xfinity internet, and it handles it flawlessly, seemingly. No lag whatsoever. And if you just like to stay at home and stream game, Xfinity Internet has your back. Supreme coverage both inside and outside your house with Xfinity Internet. I want you to check out all the amazing options Xfinity has for your internet services. Go to Xfinity.com and scroll along, find out what they have. Or you can call their friendly reps at 1-800-XFINITY. Or if you want to, check out their local Xfinity stores. There's a bunch around the metro area. Check out that Xfinity store near you today.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
9:50 on the Mark Arum Show. Hey, how about some better news in downtown? Live to Atlanta's only 24-hour traffic center, Mike Shields.
I give it to you, Mark, with a stalled vehicle. It was in a center lane on I-75-85 northbound right at University Avenue, exit 244. Atlanta police and a Hero unit blocked all lanes, moved it to the right shoulder, and everything's back open now, 75-85 northbound past University Avenue, approaching I-20. I'm Mike Shields, 95.5 WSB.
Happy 53rd birthday, Common. 53. He's older than me and way more talented than I. This is Glory, duet with John Legend, won Best Original Song in the 2015 Oscars for Selma. Common turns 53. This just popped if you have the WSB News app, and if you don't download it now, the Trump administration withdrew the nomination of David Weldon for CDC director. Big local implications there. Weldon, I believe, a former congressman from Florida. The news team investigating that, why his nomination was withdrawn. We'll have an update on that at the top of the hour. Joining us live in studio, as I mentioned, longtime friend, Taisha Fernandez from Channel 2 Action News. Ty, always good to see you. Good morning.
You know I love coming to your show.
I love having you here because this was, such an important local story. The month-long search for Gary Jones. He and his fiancee, Joy, died, unfortunately, in Lake Oconee. They found his body 30 days after they found her body. But I think the headline this morning is, this isn't a closed investigation, right? The Sheriff's Department is still investigating this. What questions need to be answered?
It's really not closed for either family because the Wilson family, Joyce and Wilson's family, never got the autopsy results because the GBI lab was waiting for Gary Jones to be found. So now he's been found. His autopsy is being processed. Really no word on when that will be done. So there's still lots of questions of how they died, what happened. But I got to tell you, Friday before he was found, he was found Sunday, like almost noon on Sunday.
Yeah.
So on Friday, I was the only reporter there when Keith Cormacon, the guy that's well known around the world for going to find people 16 years after they've drowned somewhere. When he pulled up Friday and I talked to him and did a quick interview, and something about his spirit was just like, he was out there in his brother's name, and he knew he was going to find him. I said, how long do you think it's going to take? He wouldn't give me a time, but when I was leaving, I said, well, I'll see you Monday. He said, you probably won't.
Wow, so he knew, that confident.
He's
been
confident.
doing that for a long time.
Oh, my
now.
God, decades. So quick story, if people don't know, his brother was a firefighter in Wisconsin. Keith wasn't a firefighter, but he did a lot of things with those guys. His brother went to save another drowning victim who they already knew was dead, but he was trying to recover the body in dangerous waters. His brother, Bruce, died trying to save someone else. Then they couldn't recover Bruce for a long time. So Keith just made it his mission to literally go around the world, not just the United States, and give families closure. And that's what he did.
And he did it on Sunday at noon. Now, Taisha, you were on the lake on one of those search boats. Were you surprised that they found Mr. Jones's body so close to where the boat was? I mean, it wasn't that far, but it was deep, 45 feet in the water.
Yeah, it wasn't that far at all. Here's how I looked at it. Every time I did a story, it was like more development on the pinpoints of exactly where the boat was, his shoes, her body. So I was actually surprised that they weren't finding him because they knew exactly, like Keith Cormacon would not have been able to find him in a day and a half if the other investigators didn't do all the investigation to get there. I just couldn't understand why they couldn't get him. But I am not one of those rescuers, and they did say it's an underwater forest. So it took this guy who, has something behind him more than just ability. Like, I really believe his brother pushes him to help find people. And I know that sounds like out of this world, but he found him in a day and a half when people were looking for him for 28
for a month.
days.
Yeah, it's insane. And the Jones family, the Westminster School, obviously they were hoping that he would be found okay. But at least I thought when the story broke on Sunday that, all right, some closure there for the family, the friends, the coworkers, the students there. Yeah. But it's not wrapped up yet. There's still some stuff.
Definitely not. There's lots of questions, and that's why the Jones family and the Wilson family hasn't really sat down with me. I've talked to people on both sides, and they're not willing to talk until they have all the answers. Yeah. They don't want to prematurely speculate anything. I do want to say this because I've been holding this until Gary Jones's body was recovered. Right when it happened, I had gotten an exclusive interview for TV with a cousin of Gary Jones who said, I feel my cousin's spirit in that water telling us to find him. He's unsettled. He's ready to get out of that water. And I was like, wow, I can't share that anywhere. And I mean, he feels like that was true.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
The family never doubted that he was in that water.
They knew.
And they heard all the stories. And they were offended by a lot of it.
Sure.
But I think they understand. People watch a lot of crime stories now. I think now more than ever, like true crime and all that is, I watch a lot of it too. So
you're going to have gossip. And
everybody wanted to fill in the blanks
theories.
Because it just didn't make sense. So still lots of questions to be answered, and I will be on it.
Final question for you, Taisha. Do we have a timeline when the GBI will release autopsy?
You never know. It's hard to say. I've seen it done fast. I've seen it done slow. I don't know, but I'm on it every day.
Indeed, you are. All right, Taisha Fernandez, Channel 2 Action News. So good to see you. Thanks for coming in on this Thursday morning. Yeah,
yes, feels
Thursday.
like a Friday.
It does indeed. All right, so I know you're not on X anymore because you got hijacked years ago.
I got hijacked, and it just turned me off. I was like, you know what? And you're changing names, and it's like I just felt so negative. Everything was negative on there for me.
I tried to tag you on Twitter or X, and like, oh, Taisha's coming in studio. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you. That was a weird situation. But you're on Instagram.
I'm
right?
on Instagram, Taisha Fernandez TV, and I am still, I'm turning 46 this year. I'm still on Facebook. I am on Facebook, Taisha Fernandez. Yes, turning 46.
All right, Taisha, always good to see you. Thanks for an update on a really tragic, important local story.
Yes.
Good stuff there. All right, after news, weather, traffic. Another big local story. This popped yesterday, and it's staggering. A proposed $9 billion with a B, dollar data center proposed down near LaGrange Way. Savannah Circarella from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution is following that story. Massive data center and major economic implications down in Troup County. We'll give you the very latest on that. Still to come, Peter Greenberg, our travel expert's going to join us, and the very latest on the Russia-Ukraine ceasefire talk. So much more to come. It's the Mark Arum Show on 95.5 WSB.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk. It only happens once a year. It's always fun. It's our signature Sign and Drive event. All you got to do is sign and drive with no money down and no payments for 90 days. Plus, at Beaver Toyota, you'll receive exclusive Beaver benefits with your new car. Benefits like no-charge oil changes and car washes. And yes, even complimentary loaner cars and a lifetime powertrain warranty. It's our annual Sign and Drive event. Now, this is the way car buying should be. Only at Beaver Toyota. We're here to wow you.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
There's a hidden tax costing hardworking Georgians over $5,000 every year. Governor Kemp's tort reform legislation will end this tax and lower costs for families. It will also protect victims. Listen to Governor Kemp.
The bill that I will sign is not going to keep anyone in this state from receiving the justice that they deserve.
Ensuring our justice system is fair and accessible and lowering costs for us. Tell Georgia's lawmakers, stand with Governor Kemp and pass tort reform. paid for by protecting American consumers together.
When divorce puts your life's work on the line, Cordell & Cordell is ready to help you protect it. As a business owner, you've dedicated years building a legacy now at risk due to divorce. Let our experienced family law attorneys fight for you and that legacy. Call to schedule your consultation today.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Atlanta area attorneys. 404-793-0000. 1 Glen Lake Parkway Northeast, Suite 975, Atlanta, Georgia 30328. Joseph Cordell, Principal Partner. CordellCordell.com.
Focus Features presents Black Bag, starring Cate Blanchett, Michael Fassbender, and directed by Steven Soderbergh.
I can feel when you're watching me. I like it.
It's the perfect marriage of love and deception.
I watch her, I assume she watches me.
There's a traitor in the house. Find the leak.
Black Bag is the most anticipated espionage thriller of the year.
Who's the suspect?
Your wife.
Would you kill for me?
Black Bag, rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent. Only in theaters tomorrow with special engagements in Dolby.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hi there, good morning. It is 10 o'clock. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Dr. Roof. We do have breaking news this morning. The White House just now pulling its controversial pick to lead the CDC. Alexander Ten has details.
The White House has scrapped its pick to head the CDC, Dr. Dave Weldon, amid mounting questions over the former congressman's record criticizing vaccines and efforts to strip the CDC of its vaccine review authority. One official told CBS News that it was clear he did not have the votes in the Senate to be confirmed.
All right, your weather for today, it's going to be mostly cloudy. A few rain showers or storms this afternoon and evening. Highs around 72. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast. That comes your way in just over 2 minutes. Did you hear about this? Police in Connecticut say a woman kept her stepson locked in her home for more than 20 years. Reporter Roger Susanna has more from Waterbury.
He claims that starting at the age of 11, he was imprisoned essentially in a 9-foot by 8-foot room by his stepmother, and that he was kept in that room for at least 22 hours a day. He was rarely allowed to leave, only to do chores, and he was given very little food and water. In fact, he claims that some days he was only given 2 glasses of water in a single day, and that they actually came straight from the toilet.
Now, the man intentionally set a fire in his bedroom to escape. When he was rescued, he was emaciated, weighing only 68 pounds. The stepmother's attorney denies all the allegations. A Metro Atlanta senior service head is taking her plea to end loneliness and social isolation among older people to Washington.
A recent study says a third of Americans 50 to 80 feel lonely and socially isolated. Clayton County Senior Services head Tori Strutter-Tank says it could be worse if not for federal money to senior centers.
Protecting that funding is critical.
Strutter-Tanks told the U.S. Senate Special Committee on Aging that senior centers host group meals that keep older people in touch.
By providing opportunities for older adults to gather, talk, and form meaningful relationships.
She says senior centers remain underfunded. Steve Summers, 95.5 WSB.
All right, chances are you've gotten one of them, those scam texts. Looks like they're from the Peach Pass. Well, we've been telling you about it, and now the FBI is sounding the alarm this morning. FBI Atlanta saying the number of smishing texts and that particular topic has jumped dramatically, reported losses in the thousands of dollars. If you get one of these text messages, do not open it and do not give out any personal information. Fewer vehicles are getting noticed for their safety. Why is that? Jeff Gilbert has the answer.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety honoring 45 vehicles this year. Last year, they had 71 top safety picks. President David Harkey says they've made the test tougher.
The numbers are down this year, and that's because we're really emphasizing how to protect those occupants in the rear seats of vehicles.
Mazda had the most vehicles getting safety honors. Harkey disappointed that few minivans and pickups made the list.
All right, the number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits fell slightly last week, indicating a still healthy U.S. labor market. Let's take a look at the markets. We're in the red. The Dow's down 168 at 41,182. NASDAQ is down more than a full percent, and the S&P's down more than 0.5%. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. We say good morning to Smile and Mark McKay.
Good morning, Sabrina. Now
that we're in the 10 o'clock hour. Construction is set up and slowing you just a tad, trying to make that way from I-285 onto I-20 East into Cobb County. That work zone is active eastbound with construction in the collector distributor ramp. The left lane's affected there. West side perimeter, been watching road work, fortunately not causing delays as you head to the airport, though. Right lane is taken away, 285 south, the outer loop at 166 Langford Parkway. And there is a slowdown out of Tequila this morning, rolling east on Highway 316. They're doing work in the left lane of 316 eastbound at Patrick Mill Road. Smiler Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies today with afternoon pop-up showers and thunderstorms, high 72. Lows tonight in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high 75. Saturday, starting off with morning rain showers. Then the strong to severe thunderstorms arrive late Saturday night into Sunday morning, damaging wind gusts as well as a few tornadoes possible before 6 a.m. on Sunday.
55 degrees in Smyrna, and Beaufort. Milton has 54 degrees right now. We'll have more news at 10:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Welcome back to the show and a good Thursday morning to you. Mark Arum here, you there. It's 10:04, 4 minutes after 10 o'clock. This is the Mark Arum Live, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon on 95.5 WSB. The whole family with us today. Deborah Green, the executive producer of the show. Longoria, the stoic Eskimo on the other side of the takeout window. Your boy Blue screens them calls. Still to come, the latest on the Russia-Ukraine ceasefire talks. Travel expert Peter Greenberg is going to join us live at 10:35, and we're still following the breaking news. You got a push alert from the WSB radio app. The Trump administration has withdrawn the nomination of David Weldon for CDC director. Obviously a big local story. The news team trying to get more information on that. When we have it, we will provide it to you live. Speaking of a local story, this jumped off the page or the screen yesterday for me at AJC.com. A massive data center proposed down in Troup County near LaGrange. Covering the story for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and joining us live, it's Savannah Ciccarella. Savannah, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
This is not hyperbole, right? This is a massive proposed data center. What are the details we know right now?
Yeah, so it is pretty big. The initial plans call for 6 buildings across just over 500 acres. And that's not to say the entire project will take up the full 500 acres. That's just the size of the property. But this is according to a development of regional impact filing. And whenever something is filed through one of those DRIs, that means that it's large enough to stress local traffic and infrastructure. So these buildings are essentially 250,000-ish square feet. So think of a slightly larger Walmart superstore, and there's going to be 6 of them.
6 of them. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So, with a project this size, as you mentioned, over 500 acres, does this have to get approved by folks in Troup County, LaGrange? What's the process to get this moving forward?
Yes, so this is going to go through the formal approval process. So there is possibilities that something will change, but this project has been in motion for really about 2 years, though in earnest. The property owner and his team of developers have been working on this for about 9 months. So it's not like this is their first run, but this will have to go through the formal approval process. At
$9.7 billion, that's the proposal over a number of years. Is this the biggest project in Georgia history?
So I don't know about that from the state perspective, but I do know that it could become one of the largest economic development projects to date in Troup County. And I could be missing something, but from all of the conversations I've had from folks involved in this project, it seems to be that this is one of the largest. I would say second to the Kia plant in West Point, which started operations in 2009 and promised an economic impact or an investment of somewhere now in the $2.5 billion. So this data center project is not even doubling that. It's tripling that.
Yeah, I remember it in 2009 when that Kia plant was built. That was a huge deal for the area. Economic impact, I'm glad you brought that up. What is the expected, if approved, what is the expected economic impact for Troup County if this data center comes? How much money are we talking? How many jobs?
So all that we can go off right now is a economic impact study that was commissioned by the property owner and his team of developers, which was out of from a company based out of Flowery Branch. And they said that it's estimated that this data center could create 570 and some change jobs with an average annual salary of about $80,000. Though it is worth noting that what we have seen of completed data center projects in Georgia and just throughout the country is that projects of this size will not get up to 500 jobs. And who knows, this could be an outlier. We can't say for certain that we're not going to hit the 570 jobs. But usually most large data centers will employ a couple dozen on-site skilled jobs. They are high-paid skilled jobs, but I think we're going to see about 100 or less or so jobs actually on this campus.
Yeah, I think that's the main rub for detractors of data centers, not just here in the metro area, but nationwide, is they don't provide enough jobs. Like the Kia plant provided, I think a couple thousand jobs, which was great for the area. But when you have a data center, you don't have an assembly line of workers putting together cars and automobiles. It's just, as you mentioned, 6 super Walmart-sized buildings that are just churning out the data that we need so much, which is kind of amazing in 2025 that we need so many of these data centers nationwide.
Yeah, I mean, just think about how much data you're consuming on a daily basis, or within an hour. Just this morning, way before we talked, I checked my email. I tracked a package I ordered. I listened to a podcast. I told my Amazon smartphone device that I can't say her name or she'll go off to set a timer, right? Like everyone, me as a consumer, there are very corporations that do develop rely on all of these services to go about our days. And the data centers, although they are not architectural marvels, although they aren't job super centers, they are very much needed, and these data centers make all of these processes happen.
Savannah Ciccarella from the AJC joining us live on the Mark Arum Show. A couple of quick follow-up questions, Savannah. First off, reading your piece on AJC.com, the energy that these data centers, if built, would take, that's a concern, right? The amount of energy they draw from the system.
Yes, so they use tons of energy. There's also talk of the size of these facilities. They strain utility grids and local water supplies. But if we were to use like a very simple calculation, this project produces enough energy to power about 750 homes. I'm sorry, total capacity. That's one single megawatt. At this total capacity of 600, that's slightly below 500,000 houses.
That is a lot of power. All right, final question. You might not know the answer. Who owns this land? Who's been sitting on 500 acres at LaGrange? Do we know who the seller of the property is?
Yes, it's a great story. So his name is Joshua Harrelson. This land, he raised his kids on this land with his wife, and they bought the land in about 2014 and have incrementally added on to the property. And they've always thought to themselves that we want to have a bigger purpose in this community. We're not going to be known for owning 500 acres of property in Troup County. What can we do to give back and make use of this land? And they were toying with different ideas. And again, since they bought this land in 2014, they've always had this idea in mind. And they finally came to the conclusion that data centers was the way to go after having some conversations with the city about, what would not be a strain on our local schools, et cetera, and other services, and they landed on data centers.
Wow. Always buy land, kids. God's not making any more of it. Savannah Ciccarella from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Fantastic reporting, Savannah. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Interesting. Mr. Harrelson, if you're listening, gift it to me. I'll turn it into a beautiful nature preserve, hunting grounds, fishing grounds, Longoria's animal safari. That's amazing. All right, big local story. When we come back, the latest on the Russia-Ukraine talks, and will we see a government shutdown? New reporting from Capitol Hill next on the Mark Arum Show.
Stay connected to Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic with the 95.5 WSB app. Listen to Atlanta's morning news. EVH, Eric Erickson, Mark Aram, and Shelley Winter. No matter where you go, 95.5 WSB and the WSB app. Download it today or find us in the iHeart and Odyssey apps.
Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations. Look, I know what's important to you when you're having some additions done to your house. You want the work done with quality workmanship, on time, within your budget, and built correctly. That's why I love Ben Hill Renovations, my deck experts. Getting a new deck from Ben Hill Renovations checks all the boxes. They've been building decks for over 60 years. Every project comes with a dedicated project manager and is properly built with future county and city code requirements in mind. Plus, Ben Hill Renovations offers many options, different styles, types of wood, color, and finishes. They can also build screened-in porches, outdoor living areas, multi-story wraparounds, pretty much anything you can imagine Ben Hill Renovations can do. And they're all backed by the Ben Hill Workmanship Warranty. Set up a design consultation or swing by the new Ben Hill Renovations showroom in Douglasville and talk to one of their designers or see them on the web at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
Spend an evening with James Taylor and his all-star band. The American Icon is back on tour. Saturday, September 6th, Synovus Bank Amphitheater at Chastain Park. The multiple Grammy Award-winning James Taylor and a night full of his biggest hits with special guest Tiny Habits. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Spend the night with a friend. James Taylor.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Are they promising you up to 10% growth per year guaranteed for your retirement income? If not, you need a new financial advisor. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hard-working folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 up front or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't work when you're supposed to be retired. And if any financial advisor tells you it's too good to be true, they simply don't have the options we do. Call Trajan today at 404-390-4000.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
Hey diamond lovers, Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget, not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps, or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
So your garage door won't open. It could be something simple. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. The most common call we get is, help, my garage door is broken. It could be a broken spring or a bent track, but usually it's a malfunctioning opener. Whether you call it an opener or a remote, that little button takes a lot of abuse. When yours breaks, All Four Seasons is your home for the best opener options. When trust matters, trust us. All, the number 4, seasonsgarages.com.
10:18 on the Mark Arum Show. Delays in DCAB on 285. Live with the latest. Smile on Mark McKay.
We will be watching the delays dissipate, Mark, as a big rig tow truck just towed away a disabled truck off of 285 eastbound. They were too long in that right lane at Boulder Crest Road. They took it up the exit ramp, so delays leaving I-675 with that right lane back open will start to improve. Get it close to I-20. You're dealing with a slowdown as you try to get onto I-20 East as left lane construction continues throughout this day. I-20 East leaving 285 out to Wesley Chapel Road. This report sponsored by the Georgia Lottery. Hey, Georgia, remember you can play Georgia Lottery games from almost anywhere on any device. Go to galottery.com and click on DigiGames. Mylan Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
Thanks, Mylan. Going to go to Capitol Hill in just a second, the latest on the possible government shutdown. But an update on a big story could impact us here locally. The White House has withdrawn the nomination of Dr. David Weldon, former Florida congressman, to lead the CDC here in Atlanta. Alexander Tin has an update from CBS.
Just hours before he was scheduled to face questions from the Senate's Health Committee over his nomination to head the CDC, the White House has pulled its nomination of Dr. Dave Weldon over concerns that he did not have enough votes in the Senate, amid mounting questions over the former congressman's record criticizing vaccines and the agency he was in line to
All
lead.
right, so a little more information there. We'll monitor the situation, have an update who will be the next nominee to head up Atlanta CDC. All right, let's get the latest on a possible government shutdown. Lauren Fox, congressional reporter for CNN.
Democrats really have two options at this point. They can either vote to advance this legislation and overcome that filibuster in order to avert a shutdown, or they can block it and potentially deal with a shutdown. Now, a lot of Democrats are trying to entertain and propose a third option, and that is this idea that they want a vote on at least an amendment for a 30-day stopgap spending bill that they say would give them more time to have broader negotiations on full-year bills with Republicans and therefore give them more leverage. But right now, it's just not clear if that would be enough. Here's some Democrats talking about that.
If we shut down the government, that's generally considered by many people as not a good thing to do. And especially in this environment, when we have an unelected billionaire that's already shutting down parts of the government.
Now, this is really a huge moment for Democrats because they are arguing that they want to protect federal workers. But of course, the impacts of a shutdown on some of those same federal workers would be extreme. And so a lot of Democrats grappling with this decision, a lot of Democrats undecided how they would vote on this first procedural vote when it comes up, we expect tomorrow.
All right, so Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said this morning that the Democrats do have enough votes to block the GOP spending bill. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, if you're Democrats right now. I again, as I said at the top of the show, if I were a betting man, and I have been in my past, I think we're having a government shutdown. I don't know if Schumer and the Dems are going to come over and give Speaker Johnson and President Trump a victory. But again, you know, these are the same Democrats when Joe Biden was a president and Barack Obama was a president saying government shutdown should never happen. When the tables are turned, it's a different thing because Republicans during the Biden and Obama administration said, no, we need a government shutdown. It's just a matter of who's in power. Man, that is politics. All right, let's update the Ukraine-Russia ceasefire talks. Joining us on the show is correspondent Rory O'Neill. Rory, good morning. We got an agreement between the U.S. and Ukraine. Have we heard yet if the Kremlin is going to sign off on this deal?
Yeah, just that they're still considering it. And we know that a diplomatic team from the U.S., including Steve Witkoff, the president's point man there on the Israeli negotiations, he's going to Moscow to try to get this deal over the finish line. Again, this is just for a 30-day ceasefire, not a big peace plan, but, start small and trying to end the violence now. But it's going to be a big barrier to get Russia over the finish line.
We heard from President Trump yesterday. He said the ceasefire deal would be, getting us 80% to the end of the war. What's the incentive for Russia to sign the ceasefire deal?
Well, look, they still have had serious economic consequences as a result of this, between the sanctions that have been placed on Russia, assets that have been frozen all around the world. There's a financial motivation to get Russia to the table, and new threats from President Trump that he'll impose new financial hardship on Russia unless they broker a deal. But Russia also wants assurances in exchange. They want assurances that Ukraine won't join NATO or won't be invited to. And they want assurances about what peacekeeping troops may be on the ground in Ukraine to maintain some new border. They don't want just NATO troops. Will they have to come from some other part of the world? I mean, that's all still an open discussion right now. So there's a lot of unresolved issues. Ukraine came to the table relatively quickly after that lousy Oval Office meeting a couple weeks ago. But getting Russia to finally agree to a deal, as they said this morning, quote, let's not get ahead of ourselves, unquote.
Correspondent Rory O'Neill joining us on the Mark Arum Show. What about the latest on the rare earth minerals deal? I thought we had a deal in place yesterday.
Yeah, still in negotiations. I know that President Zelensky has suggested he's open to a deal. And then this is where things get a little tricky. Is it a deal? Is it a framework for a deal? What exactly are both sides agreeing to? A lot of that has moved a little bit as well. And again, I think the fact that Zelensky sort of came around pretty quickly to sign on to this ceasefire, sort of a sign of, all right, I'm going to give you this. I might not give you as much on the minerals. Again, it's politics. It's diplomatic affairs. This is hard work.
And I think it's worth noting that in this ceasefire deal that the United States and Ukraine agreed to, not yet Russia, it's not in effect. But if that does go into effect, if Russia does sign off, then the U.S. will resume sharing intelligence and will resume the funding militarily of the Ukraine army. So to me, those are two big things that Vladimir Putin does not want to have to happen. Obviously, the sharing of the intelligence and the military money. So I'm trying to envision a scenario where Vladimir Putin's like, okay, let me do this. Let's get the 30-day ceasefire.
Well, right. So, and then how much land will Ukraine have to give up? We think Russia occupies about 20% of Ukraine. That seems like a big give. If Ukraine has to give up 20% of its territory, you'll hear from other European nations saying, well, you're just rewarding Putin's bad behavior if you give him 20% of Ukraine, which is a pretty large country, by the way. So it's, again, this is a difficult deal to try to strike, even if it is just for 30 days.
All right, Rory, appreciate the insight as always, my friend.
Thanks, Mark.
I hate to be a negative Nelly, but this is two stories where I think don't end well. I do think we're going to have a government shutdown, and I don't think that Russia's going to agree to the ceasefire deal. If I was Vladimir Putin, I'd be like, heck no, I got the upper hand. If I agree to the ceasefire deal, you resume aid and intelligence sharing? No, why do I want that? Am I a negative Nelly, or am I just reading the forest through the trees?
I think you're reading the forest through
All
the
right,
trees.
thank you, Longoria. Another day, another scam alert. What can you tell us about this new scam, Deborah Green?
All right, the FBI is warning people about the latest scam going around. You've probably got a text or 12 saying that your Peach Pass toll is overdue. Well, this is kind of the next level. Now people are getting text messages and calls that there's a warrant out for their arrest, and they come attached with a very real-looking document, and then, of course, it provides a link for payment. Now, the FBI says they're never going to ask for payment over the phone, they're not going to ask for personal banking info, and they'll never ask you to pay in gift cards either.
We need a warrant for your arrest. Give us $400 in Target gift cards, and no. I'm not. I might fall for a toll scam. Like, oh no, did I not pay my Peach Pass bill? I'm not falling for the warrant. Not law-abiding Mark Arum. No warrants out on this, guys.
You're only 2% corrupt.
I'm only 2% corrupt. Thank you, Longoria. All right, Sabrina's going to update the big local stories. When we come back, travel expert Peter Greenberg joins us live. That's next on the Mark Arum Show.
Heavy rains have recently impacted widespread areas of North Georgia. How did your roof hold up? Heavy rains expose roof leaks that can lead to water damage. Schedule a free roof analysis from Dave Baker, trusted and recommended, FindlayRoofing.com. Roof.
City of Hope, a place where seemingly impossible blood cancers become treatable, curable. With more than 19,000 bone marrow transplants performed, we're the largest and most successful program in the U.S., making major breakthroughs in treating leukemia, lymphoma, and rare blood cancers, personalizing a treatment plan right down to your DNA. Now the experts striving to make the impossible a reality are closer to home. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 10:30. Good morning. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by your Metro Atlanta AMCO dealers. Well, the latest figures show Georgia's unemployment rate is holding steady, that despite a drop in available jobs. The Georgia Department of Labor says the state unemployment rate remains unchanged at 3.6%. That beats the national rate by 0.4%. The department says jobs statewide were down by over 28,000 in the latest January report. The sectors with the biggest gains include durable goods manufacturing and state government. Transportation and warehousing saw the biggest losses. Meanwhile, jobless claims were up over 3,400. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB. All right, what about your weather for today? Well, it's going to be mostly cloudy. A few rain showers or storms are possible this afternoon and evening. Highs around 72, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. Breaking news this morning, the White House pulling the CDC director nomination of Dr. Dave Weldon. The Senate Health Committee announcing this morning that it was canceling a planned hearing on his nomination because of the withdrawal. This is Dr. Weldon speaking back in 2002 on childhood vaccines and autism. It was a hearing that was under the U.S. Government Reform and Oversight Committee in the U.S. House.
The reality is scientists and medical researchers operate with a system of biases that frankly can be very, very politicized.
Now, no word was given as to why the nomination was pulled, but one source saying that HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy said that Weldon wasn't ready. Another saying the White House pulled the nomination because it became clear that Weldon did not have the votes for confirmation. President Trump's 25% tariff on aluminum is rocking the beer industry, which has increasingly moved from bottles to cans. Finding a domestic supplier, they say, is now almost impossible.
There simply aren't enough smelters in the U.S. to actually create enough aluminum to meet demand.
And that's Carolyn Wallace with the Texas Craft Brewers Guild. She says that when there were similar tariffs back in 2018, prices did rise, and it hit the smaller breweries the hardest. We have a lot of those here in Georgia. They say that they can't buy in bulk to cut down on costs. 2/3 of all craft beer now comes packaged in aluminum cans. Waterbury, Connecticut woman has been charged with multiple counts of cruelty and kidnapping for keeping her stepson captive in an upstairs room for 20 years. He was freed by firefighters when they responded to a fire. The victim told them he intentionally set that fire, hoping it would help end his imprisonment. Adrian Diaz has more.
Sullivan is being held on a $300,000 bond. She is due back in court at the end of the month. The victim remains in a medical facility for treatment.
And police say the victim had been treated for smoke inhalation and other injuries caused by the fire. Police say he told them, in his words, "I wanted my freedom." While vehicles are considered much safer each year with more technology, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, though, has cut the number of top safety picks from 71 last year to just 45 this year. Institute President Dave Harkey says they've made the test harder.
We're really emphasizing how to protect those occupants in the rear seats of vehicles.
And Mazda has the most vehicles getting safety honors. He notes not many minivans or pickup trucks made the cut this year. As we take a look at the markets, the Dow right now is down 49 at 41,301. NASDAQ is also down more than 0.5%, and the S&P is also in the red. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Smiler Mark McKay has a look at your roads.
Still slow through Gwinnett County. Sabrina, 85 southbound. Traffic Trooper John said there was a crash. 85 south before Beaver Ruin Road, exit 102 in the left center lane. Hopefully it's been moved off to the right. Still a bit slow leaving Highway 316. Going to find slowing on I-20 getting on from I-285 into Cobb County on that collector distributor ramp that takes you to Wesley Chapel Road as that construction is up and running this morning. And a south side slow zone as you work your way out of Stockbridge on I-75 southbound. You're on the brakes at Highway 138. Get past Hudson Bridge, Eagles Landing Parkway, exit 224. You're on your way to McDonough. Smiler Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies today, high 72. Pop-up showers and thunderstorms for the afternoon and evening hours. Lows tonight in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high 75. Saturday, a few rain showers in the morning. Then the line of strong to severe thunderstorms arrive between 10 p.m. on Saturday through 6 a.m. on Sunday. Damaging wind gusts and a few tornadoes possible early Sunday morning.
It is 58 degrees right now in Decatur. Johns Creek has 57 degrees, and it's 57 in Ackworth. We'll have more news at 11 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
The morning rush hour, the evening rush hour, and everything in between.
Slow spots are starting to build up the east side perimeter on 285 North.
Tune in 24/7 with the Triple Team Traffic
We've
Center.
had several breakdowns, including one in the express lane.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Major changes coming to Southwest Airlines. What you need to know. Travel expert Peter Greenberg joins us live next on the Mark Arum Show.
Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations. I know what's important to you when you're looking for a new deck. You want the work done with quality workmanship, on time, within your budget, and built correctly. Getting a new deck from Ben Hill Renovations checks all the boxes. And when it comes to new decks, pretty much anything you can imagine, Ben Hill can do. And they're all backed by the Ben Hill Workmanship Warranty. Swing by the new Ben Hill Renovations showroom in Douglasville and talk to one of their designers. Or see them on the web at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
Healthy, beautiful skin can be yours with Olansky Dermatology. Their expert team offers personalized care for medical, Mohs, surgery, and aesthetic skincare needs. Schedule 24/7 online with their Cumming, Roswell, or Buckhead locations, including new evening and Saturday hours in Buckhead. With 40 years of excellence and over 5,000 five-star Google reviews, trust Atlanta's top-rated dermatology practice. Visit OlanskyDermatology.com or call today. Olansky Dermatology and Aesthetics, where everyone deserves healthy skin.
It won't be that long before school gets out. And if you're thinking about buying a new home this summer, now is the time to get the ball rolling. This is Scott Slade. My friends at MyLand always recommend getting pre-approved before starting to shop for your next home. Make sure you know how much you can afford and have your financing ready to make an offer when you find your dream home. MyLand is who I recommend for all home financing needs, whether it's a second mortgage, cash out refinance, or purchase of a new home. They even have a great new product that allows you to qualify for an investment or rental property without personal income documents. Whatever type of mortgage you need, MyLand will close your loan fast without issues and headaches and make sure you have the best rate in town. Call MyLand. 770-817-2000. That's 770-817-2000. Online, it's myland.com. Spelled it MILEND. NMLS and Georgia Mortgage Licensee 148769. Located at 8995 West Side Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. MyLand is an equal housing lender.
Got a leaky pipe? Trouble with your AC? Ace Hardware Home Services is right around the corner with trusted pros to fix it. From plumbing to heating and cooling, we'll keep your home running smoothly all year long. Get help today at acehardwarehomeservices.com.
1037 news keeps breaking. New deportation numbers from the Trump administration. President Trump says he wants to boost those numbers. We'll check in with Bloomberg in the 11 o'clock hour. Deborah's got more tickets to give away in the 11 o'clock hour to see the Outlaw Fest. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, great concert there. But first and foremost, joining us live, a longtime friend of the show and the station, travel expert Peter Greenberg. Peter, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm very good, sir.
Are you dealing with the shock waves of the Southwest Airlines announcement this week?
Well, it was somewhat shocking. We sort of thought it was going to happen when they changed their open seating policy early in the year. They're putting in premium seats to charge people more. You know, the entire airline has been branded for years around one concept: bags fly free. In fact, that was their entire advertising campaign. And that was before they were basically controlled by a new investor group that wanted to raise money and generate revenue. And so guess what? As of May 28th, if you're flying on Southwest Airlines, if you want to check a bag, it's going to cost you. And keep in mind, we're talking about a lot of money here, between $500 and $800 million they expect to generate from this. The problem is so many people were flying Southwest precisely because they didn't have to pay to check bags. So it'll be interesting to see the fallout from this in terms of passenger numbers.
Yeah, the reaction on social media was quite severe, Peter, for Southwest loyalists, that they literally lost their mind that they are no longer going to be able to fly their bags free. I mean, really big response from Southwest fans.
Exactly. But, you know, internally within the airline industry, there's an argument that if you live in Dallas, you're going to probably fly American whether you want to or not. If you live in Atlanta, you're stuck on Delta. And if you're in St. Louis or Chicago's Midway and some other states, you're flying Southwest. So it remains to be seen what the real impact is going to be here, except a lot of angry passengers.
May 28th is the date. Do we know how much Southwest is going to charge for those check bags?
The guess is $35 for the first bag and maybe $45 for the second, but they haven't basically revealed that. The other thing they changed, you may remember, Mark, in the year 2020, when United Airlines changed that draconian ticket change fee and got rid of it, and then all the other airlines followed suit. That was considered a pretty good idea. Southwest Airlines had that all along. If you cancel the flight on Southwest, it just went into a credit for your bank, and you could apply it to another flight. Now they've changed the fare structure. So if you buy their cheapest fare ticket and you cancel, you lose the money.
Oof! All right, that might be even a bigger story. If you're a loyalty member or a Southwest credit card holder, though, there are still ways your bags can fly free even after May 28th.
Sure. If you're part of that elite group of people who have huge number of miles, or you're in the A-list boarding group, there's a good chance you won't have to pay for that first bag. But still, the concept here and the perception here is what's doing all that negative publicity right now for Southwest.
Peter Greenberg is always an A-list boarder here on the Mark Arum Show. Some good news in the air industry. From January to February, airfares dropped 4%, according to the Consumer Price Index. Do we think those drops are going to keep going?
They already are, Mark. Think about this. 22% drop in foreign visitors to the U.S. in the last 6 weeks alone. And the answers we're getting is that these travelers are perceiving America as being unwelcoming.
Oh.
That's just on foreign visitors to the U.S. But we found 35 different airfares this week from the U.S. to Europe for under $500 round trip. In fact, I'm sending a team for one of our shows going from San Francisco to Cairo on Sunday. Guess what the airfare is?
$800.
$437.
Wow, that's a steal. That's phenomenal.
It's cheaper to fly from San Francisco to Cairo than from New York to San Francisco.
My father-in-law just got back from a 2-week trip in Egypt, and he absolutely loved it. Said it was one of the greatest trips he's ever taken.
And now's the time to go because there are fewer people going.
Yeah, wow, that's $400. That's crazy. I know through your various globe travels, you've done a lot of travel in the U.S. National Park Service set a visitation record in 2024. Hopefully, park rangers will still have their jobs when DOGE is done. But what are some of your most recommended national parks in the United States for folks to visit?
Well, remember, if you're going to Yosemite or Yellowstone, be prepared to stand in line. Timed reservations are always in place. They'll be in place again this year, assuming there are rangers there to support that. But look at some of the other national parks, marine reserves, and national seashores. Acadia National Park in Maine, always a favorite. Zion in Utah. And, of course, you've got national parks in Hawaii that people don't realize are national parks. So all sorts of opportunities there.
Interesting. I'm looking at the list. Great Smoky Mountains National Park was the most visited. 12 million visitors to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. That's actually one I've been to. I'm not going to Grand Canyon. I don't need to bore you with why I'm not going to the Grand Canyon, Peter. But that is not on my bucket list of items to see. Peter has no comment. I was expecting you to defend the Grand Canyon, Peter.
I'll tell you where you go. Don't go to where everybody else goes. Go to Grand Canyon West, and you'll be immersed in the culture of the Hualapai Indians. Most people don't know about it. Check that out.
There you go. Final question for you, Peter. We mentioned Southwest changing, but some good news. Southwest was the most on-time U.S. carrier in February. What other on-time carriers were noted in this list?
Well, you want the biggest surprise?
Yeah.
Here it comes. Spirit. They were the number one.
Really?
Number one. Yep.
Interesting. All right. Peter, you're in NYC right now. Where are you headed?
I'm actually headed to San Francisco tonight and then on to Cairo on Sunday.
Oh, have fun, my friend. Have fun. I'm very jealous. I need to, before we go to North Korea, let's go to Egypt together.
We'll take that connecting flight.
There you go. Peter, safe travels, my friend. Invaluable research, travel expert Peter Greenberg there. Man, Southwest fans lost their mind. Absolutely lost their mind about that. This is absolutely a banana story. A woman kept her stepson locked in her home for more than 20 years. From age 11 to age 32. Mind-blowing story. We'll tell you about it next on The Mark Arum Show.
The news of the day through the eyes of Eric Von Hessler.
It should go without saying that I abhor violence.
If it's on your mind, it's on his.
I just don't feel like other people that I don't know need to know how I feel about things.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Can you remember the last time you turned on the shower and all you got was cold water? Hopefully you don't have a fresh memory of that. Hey, it's Mark Arum. I want you to check out my friends at Reliable Heating and Air. Great new deal on a new water heater. Check it out, guys. Only $29.99 a month and no payments for 3 whole months. No credit check and an unbeatable lifetime warranty. Or you want to go tankless? It's only $59.99 a month and you can enjoy endless hot water. Think about those long, hot showers in the cold, cold winter. Their new water heater installations come with their 100% satisfaction guarantee, same-day water heater installation guaranteed, or they pay you $300. And with their Comfort as a Service program, you get lifetime repair and maintenance, no additional charges ever, no money down, and just easy monthly payments. So new water heater, $29.99 a month, or tankless, $59.99 a month. Amazing deal. Amazing hot water, amazing service. Go online to reliableair.com.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and for over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks.
Spring is the perfect time to update your home, and America's Best Choice makes it easy with these spring specials. Highest quality, energy-efficient windows starting at just $299. Take 10% off a new deck and create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwin.com today to schedule your free consultation.
Don't miss your chance to take advantage of the buy two, get two free and pay nothing until 2027. Offer ending soon, only from Window Nation. Schedule your free estimate now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Hey, folks, it's Shelley Winter here. You know, sometimes they make fun of me around the office because I doze off at my desk while doing show prep. Well, you know why that happened? It's because of a lack of sleep. I have sleep apnea. So if you snore or have sleep apnea also, you're not living life to the fullest. So listen up. I know you're tired, but in all seriousness, this is important. My friends over at Palmetto Sleep are changing lives with a custom-fit oral appliance that stops your snoring and treats sleep apnea. I'm not talking about something you buy out of a supermarket. This is a custom-made for your mouth and covered by your private medical insurance. What I love most is that they do everything from the diagnosis to the delivery of the oral appliance and everything in between. They even provide a take-home sleep study and virtual consults. If you're ready for a great night's sleep, you are ready for Palmetto Sleep. Go to palmettosleep.com. That's palmettosleep.com right now. Don't suffer from another sleepless night. palmettosleep.com.
You wouldn't know it, but most financial advisors are put in a box. I'm Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I want to provide you a little insight about financial advisors. Most financial advisors have to sell what their company requires them to sell, and many advisors have to only adhere to what's called a suitability standard. A suitability standard is a limited standard of care, not requiring what's sold to be best, just suitable. Advisors with this loose standard often have limited investment and product selection. Trajan Wealth is held to a fiduciary standard, which is the highest standard of care in the advisory business. And that's just one of the many reasons we have billions of dollars under our care and attract clients from other advisors. Raise your standards today and call Trajan Wealth. 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000. Or visit us at TrajanWealth.com.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Beaver Direct Certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with an industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at BeaverToyotaComing.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
10:49 on the Mark Arum Show. Check in Atlanta's south side of town, live to Atlanta's only 24-hour traffic center, and Smile Mark McKay.
Apparently, folks getting a head start on their weekend. I-75 is already slowing out of Morrow into Stockbridge. Brake lights get you just before Highway 138, exit 228. Once you get down to Hudson Bridge, Eagles Landing Parkway, it's a better ride south into MacDonough. Into downtown Atlanta, 75-85 northbound is still a little bit stacked up as you leave Georgia State Center Park Stadium to Midtown. Northeast Atlanta, 85 is slowing as you leave Georgia 400, rolling south towards 17th Street Atlantic Station. Smile Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
In the backyard, I was just in the swing set, and I looked up at the back window, and I just saw a little boy there, or it looked like a little boy to me, and he just smiled and waved at me. I waved back, and when I turned my head and looked back from the window, he was gone.
Unbelievable story. That's Shay Baker, a neighbor of this woman who's accused of imprisoning her stepson in their home for more than 20 years. And this happened 20 minutes from where I grew up in Waterbury, Connecticut. Waterbury is Waterbury. That's a whole nother story. Police say a Connecticut woman kept her stepson locked in her home for more than 20 years. WFSB TV reporter Roger Sussinen has more from Waterbury. WFSB TV. That's where I interned for Gail King. Let's get an update.
He claims that starting at the age of 11, he was imprisoned essentially in a 9-foot by 8-foot room by his stepmother, and that he was kept in that room for at least 22 hours a day. He was rarely allowed to leave, only to do chores, and he was given very little food and water. In fact, he claims that some days he was only given 2 glasses of water in a single day, and that they actually came straight from the toilet.
Oh, my God. So this is from age 11 to age 32. So I'm assuming if he's locked up by his stepmom, he didn't go to school starting at age 11. The crazy part is how he escaped. He intentionally set a fire in his own bedroom to escape. After 22 years, he finally decided to escape. When he was rescued, he was emaciated, weighed only 68 pounds. 32-year-old man weighing 68 pounds. The stepmother's attorney denies all of the allegations. This is Fred Spagnola. chief of police for Waterbury, Connecticut.
It's really hard to talk about still. I mean, it's shuddering to think that someone would treat any person, let alone a family member or someone that was entrusted as a guardian or a parental figure in this way.
I don't even know what to say about that. Is that the evilest stepmother of all time? That's horrific. 20 years.
Where was the dad, I wonder? Does it say?
I know, it didn't say. Oh, my God. Waterbury. Don't get off Route 84 in Connecticut at Waterbury. Keep on going. You can go either way. Gosh, that's a horrible story. Of course it happens in Connecticut. And that's not nice Connecticut. Nice Connecticut, Stamford, Fairfield, Westport. That's my side of Connecticut. That was wow. That's a absolutely horrible story. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions. I'm just thankful it didn't happen here in Metro Atlanta. Make us look bad. Waterbury's 20 years being locked up. Unbelievable story. All right. I am a big fan of tuna fish. I love tuna sandwiches, tuna melts, tuna sushi, sashimi, nigiri. Deborah Green, I love how Deborah knows me. You pulled up a bumblebee tuna story for us today, my friend.
The fishing industry are suing Bumblebee Seafoods, claiming they knew of abuse in the supply chain. Now, the workers say that there was human trafficking, forced labor, all kinds of abuse. They would often be left at sea on vessels with little or no provision and then charged fees if they needed basic necessities or even food. Now, they say that Bumblebee was informed of these things and did nothing. They're seeking compensation for wages and abuse.
Interesting. Now, I remember, was it the 90s? Late 80s, where I don't know if it was Bumblebee or Star-Kissed, Chicken of the Sea, whatever. They were trapping dolphins in the tuna nets. Remember? And there was a big boycott on the tuna. I don't know if they ever resolved that, if they changed their nets or whatever. But tuna, we talk. And by the way, good news: egg prices have come down like 16% in the last week or so. Tuna is still a really good deal. If you're looking for protein, I know a lot of folks you're not eating tuna for breakfast. It's not a substitution for eggs, but if you're looking for protein, canned tuna is still a really, really good deal. That's all.
During the Lenten season,
I've come up with a tuna fish hack.
Okay,
and it's not for everybody. And I got this from Matthew McConaughey of all people, who apparently is the biggest. Not personally, he didn't text me, Aram, you got to do this. He is apparently a bigger tuna salad fan than I am, and he churches us up with a lot of stuff that I'm not going to put in mine. But he put wasabi, which is like Japanese horseradish, the green stuff that you get with sushi. He mixed that in to his tuna fish, and I was like, that's interesting. So Maya bought wasabi mayonnaise. So it's like a horseradish mayonnaise, but it's like a green tint. And I've been putting that on in my tuna fish when I make a tuna salad. It adds a nice kick to it. Highly recommend it. In fact, I used it the other day. I went to Publix, where shopping was a pleasure, and I got the ultimate half sub on wheat with lettuce, tomato, and banana peppers. And normally I get mayo on that, but I knew I was going to bring it home, and I was like, you know what? No mayo. And I put the wasabi mayo on that.
Maybe you should start asking Publix if they will carry it for you at your local Publix.
I've already given them enough grief.
Is it premium mayo like yours?
Yeah. Oh, Aram's premium mayonnaise. I still got to do that. Quick update. Sabrina, I'm sure, is going to update this in a second. And I hope I'm not stepping on your toes, Sabrina. But a big story with local implications. Hours before the confirmation hearing, the White House pulled the nomination of David Weldon to lead the CDC. CBS's Olivia Rinaldi has more on what apparently was a controversial pick.
Weldon is a former congressman from Florida. He served for 14 years. He, during that time, was a prominent anti-vaxxer, really casting questions on the efficacy of vaccines and whether or not it caused autism.
All right, so that was polled. Apparently there weren't enough votes in the Senate, which is crazy because every single cabinet pick that President Trump has put forth has been confirmed. So something might have come up. Weldon was a former Republican congressman from Florida, so we're going to have a new CDC nominee coming from the Trump administration. The big political story, though, the budget battle. Will we see a government shutdown? We're going to get the very latest coming up after news, weather, and traffic from the nation's capital. ICE deportation numbers going up, and President Trump wants them even bigger. We'll check in with Bloomberg News with that story coming up in just a little bit. And Deborah's got more tickets to give away to see the Outlaw Fest. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and more. We'll give those away in the 11:30 segment of the show. Social medias are active throughout the broadcast. In fact, I just posted in my Instagram story. We had Taisha Fernandez in studio. Put a picture of her in studio up on my Instagram story at Mark Arum, MarkArum. Brought to you by Arum's Premium Mayonnaise.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Termites, like me, eat 24/7, and your home is in their path of destruction. Mark Arum here for Breda Pest Management. You want a complete barrier from Breda, not just a bait station. If your current service only inspects the outside, how do you know the inside of your home's termite-free? Breda is better at beating termites. Only Breda inspects and protects the outside and inside. Plus, your termite rate is locked in for 10 years.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We've lowered prices. You can save 15% or more on hundreds of items like Thomas Mini Bagels, Campbell's SpaghettiOs, and more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
At Shane Company, our engagement rings are the perfect blend of design, function, and beauty, each one a unique work of art. We meticulously craft our bridal jewelry in our jeweler's workshop to the highest standards, expertly setting each diamond by hand, ensuring the structure is perfectly balanced, and sizing everything for the perfect fit. Shane Company offers a free unmatched lifetime warranty because your engagement ring is an heirloom that was made to last. You'll cherish your ring today, tomorrow, and forever. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
If you're a longtime Atlanta resident, I don't have to tell you, weather in March goes bananas. Hey, it's Mark Arum here. Spring thunderstorms rolling in. Rain, wind, even hail. Want you to get your roof ready for these storms. Dr. Roof here to help you. Check out their March specials at drroof.com. That's drroof.com. Roof repair, roof replacement, heck, even siding and windows. They do it all. Be prepared this crazy March. Go to drroof.com, drroof.com.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 11 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by the Next Generation Xfinity 10G network. And a last-minute move, the White House pulling its nomination to lead the Atlanta-based CDC. Karen Travers has more.
The White House has pulled the nomination of Dave Weldon, a former Florida congressman who was President Trump's pick to lead the Centers for Disease Control, just hours before his scheduled Senate confirmation hearing. That's according to multiple sources familiar with the decision. When he was nominated last year, Weldon, a longtime vaccine skeptic, was championed by allies of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
And one source saying that the White House pulled that nomination because it became clear that Weldon did not have the votes for confirmation. Your weather for today, mostly cloudy, a few rain showers and storms possible this afternoon and evening. Highs around 72, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just over 2 minutes. In Connecticut, an investigation's underway after police say they found a man who was being held against his will by his stepmother for more than 20 years. Fire crews were called to Kim Sullivan's home after the victim says he started a fire to escape. The mayor of Waterbury telling reporters,
the young man's unimaginable suffering over the course of 2 decades is just a reminder of the darkness that does exist in our world. Our hearts and our prayers go out to him. We're committed to supporting him in every way possible as he begins to heal from this unimaginable trauma that he suffered.
And the stepmother is now charged with kidnapping, assault, and cruelty. We have learned this week that a man indicted for murder and a Buckhead grandmother stabbing is still waiting for a mental competency exam 16 months after it was ordered. State House lawmakers are weighing a bill about those long waits.
SB 132 would mandate that a judge hold a hearing every time a defense attorney requests a mental health exam for a client.
With an average 11-month wait list, Coweta Circuit District Attorney Herb Cranford tells lawmakers maybe too many people are getting referrals.
For felonies, the number is over 70% come back as competent after the initial evaluation.
Defense attorney Carlos Rodriguez tells me judges already have the authority to tell lawyers no.
To require a hearing in every single instance is only going to slow and frustrate the process that is already slowed and frustrated.
Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Now to Cobb County, where voters will have the option to vote early in person prior to special elections for 2 county commission seats.
The County Elections Board unanimously approved 6 early voting dates leading up to the April 29th election for seats in District 2 and District 4. Early voting will take place at 4 different locations on April 19th and April 21st through April 25th. Each location will also have drop boxes for absentee ballots. The District 2 race between Democrat Eric Allen and Republican Alicia Adams, both looking to fill the seat previously held by Jerica Richardson. The District 4 race is between Democratic incumbent Monique Sheffield and Republican challenger Matthew Hardwick. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Well, the Georgia Department of Labor has released new numbers this morning showing a mixed picture concerning the state's job market, but we still beat the national average. The state labor department's latest report from January shows jobs were down over 28,000 month to month. The transportation and warehousing sector saw the biggest drops. The biggest job gains were seen in durable goods manufacturing and state government. Monthly jobless claims rose over 3,400. With all this said, the unemployment rate held steady at 3.6%. That's 0.4% better than the national rate. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB. As we check your money, the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P are all in the red this morning. Time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams has a look at your roads.
Hey, good morning, Sabrina. Right now, we are watching the slow traffic into DeKalb County, 285 east and northbound from Flat Shoals up to I-20. That's because of the left lane construction on the 20 eastbound collector distributor ramp approaching Wesley Chapel Road. 85 southbound out of Gwinnett. We're seeing a few brake lights in Duluth from Highway 316 down toward Jimmy Carter Boulevard. It looks like we got that daily road work on Buford Drive northbound in Gwinnett County before I-85, slowing the ride back toward Old Peachtree Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies today with afternoon pop-up showers and thunderstorms, high 72. Lows tonight in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high 75. Saturday, starting off with morning rain showers. Then the strong to severe thunderstorms arrive late Saturday night into Sunday morning, damaging wind gusts as well as a few tornadoes possible before 6 a.m. on Sunday.
59 degrees in Kennesaw, at 60 in Roswell. Covington has 58 degrees right now. We'll have more news at 11:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
No, I'll run this town to be near you.
11:04 on this gorgeous Thursday. Welcome back to the Mark Arum Show. Beautiful weather outside. Thank you, Christina Edwards. Coming up in 30 minutes, Deborah Green's going to give away tickets to the Outlaw Fest. In about 12 minutes, we're going to check in with Bloomberg News, an update on the increased number of ICE deportations. And President Trump said today he wants to increase that number. President Trump also today on Truth Social says he is going to impose a 200% tariff on all wines, alcohol, etc., not just from France, but the entire European Union. Huge news for wine lovers, champagne lovers there. Speaking of tariffs, Deborah's going to update us on an aluminum tariff that could impact beer drinkers here in the United States. A big story with local implications. The White House has withdrawn CDC director nominee just before the confirmation hearing. It was Dr. David Weldon. He's an actual doctor. Was the nominee, former Republican congressman from Florida. Apparently is a vaccine skeptic. And he's criticized the CDC in the past, but I'm not sure why. I mean, RFK is a vaccine skeptic, and he has criticized the CDC, but he got his nomination confirmed. So we'll still try to find out. We'll see who the new nominee for the CDC is here in Atlanta. Obviously, a story with big implications for a lot of folks that work at the CDC. The big political story today, though, the battle over the budget. Joining us from ABC News, Allie Picorn. Allie, good morning. Big win earlier this week for Speaker Mike Johnson, getting the budget through the House of Representatives. Finally heard from Democratic Minority Leader in the Senate, Chuck Schumer. What did he have to say about the budget?
Yeah,
big win for Mike Johnson, but a short-lived one at that, because unlike in the House of Representatives, where Johnson has the power to push things through using only Republican support, the Senate does not work that way. So even though Senate Democrats are the minority over on the other side of the Capitol building, they do need to furnish at least 7 votes to move the House bill forward. And yesterday, Minority Leader Schumer made waves when he said that right now Democrats are not prepared to give Republicans those votes to move that bill through. So here we are, a little over 2 days to a government shutdown, and there is some very serious concern that there is not going to be a clear path forward in how to avert a possible shutdown. Now, I should say 2 days is a long time for a deal to come together to bring Democrats over, but if one isn't struck, we could be looking at a shutdown for the first time in a few years.
Did Schumer offer a counter proposal, something that the Democrats could get on board with?
Democrats say that what they want is a 30-day clean extension of government funding, basically saying, let's just keep the government funded the way that it's been funded for 30 more days. And what Democrats are hoping to accomplish with this is that appropriators could get together behind the scenes, have a little bit more time to negotiate, and hopefully strike a deal for new funding levels for the fiscal year 2025. That takes us through the end of September. That's what they say they want to do. But if we're being very realistic about the situation before us, that sort of proposal is not going to have time to pass and probably doesn't have the Republican support to pass. The House of Representatives has already left Washington, D.C., and they're not expected to come back until after this shutdown deadline. Meanwhile, Republicans in the Senate, they don't really see the need to support this 30-day extension. That's not really what they want. And since Democrats are in the minority, they can't really force the Senate to vote on that bill. That said, they might be able to get some sort of deal struck with Majority Leader John Thune to have a vote on an amendment in exchange for their letting the larger House bill through. But really what we're looking at here is a choice for Democrats, either vote to support this House bill or vote to shut the government down.
Allie Pecorn from ABC News joining us on the Mark Arum Show. So, I mean, I don't see how we do not have a government shutdown, Allie, because, Congress, the House of Representatives already left town, and if there are any changes to this, it would have to go back to the House to get approved. So if the Democrats vote no on this, I mean, give me an off-ramp for us not to have a government shutdown in 2 days.
Yeah, I should say 2 days is a very long time in the world of Senate negotiations. I know it doesn't seem that way to us normal people who would want more than 2 days to secure our financial stability, but here on Capitol Hill, there's still a lot of time for deal making. So it seems possible that Democrats could be brought over to furnish the necessary votes to support this bill if it means that they get something in exchange, which is likely going to be a vote on their proposal, this 30-day extension, that won't ultimately pass. What we are trying to gauge out right now is whether Democrats would be satisfied with that arrangement. If they get a vote on their proposal and it doesn't pass, would they be satisfied enough to go ahead and let the House bill through, or would they not be? Now, if they're not, and there's not a way to leverage Democratic support, then we really could be looking at a shutdown. But there is some division within the Senate Democratic caucus right now about what the right path forward here is, because there are a number of Democrats who are very concerned that if they allow the government to shut down, it would give President Trump, Elon Musk, the Office of Management and Budget, a lot of unilateral authority to determine what federal workers are getting laid off during a period of time where federal workers are already getting laid off.
Interesting. Have we heard from any Democrats that have said they might vote to pass the budget bill, or is it pretty been unanimous from Leader Schumer that there are no firm yes votes yet from Democrats?
Democrats are very tight-lipped about this, and part of the reason for that is that because they have sort of this Sophie's choice in front of them, a lot of them don't want to lay out a path forward that would sort of burn colleagues who make the opposite decision, right? So we don't yet know who would be in your camp of yes votes, and the universe of people who would potentially vote to help advance this thing will be determined largely by what sort of deal is struck to bring them over, right? And so there's going to be a lot of negotiation happening behind the scenes over the next couple of days to figure out what sort of deal might sweeten the pot for Democrats to sort of come over and support this. I think there's a very good possibility that Democrats will ultimately furnish the votes to at least allow Republicans to get on to voting for this bill, to pass it with just Republican support, but we're going to have to see how they ultimately play this.
Allie Pecorn, ABC News, great insight as always, Allie. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
And Chuck Schumer today, the Senate Minority Leader, said he does have the votes to stop the budget bill, which means and again, I hate to be negative, Nelly, I don't see how the Democrats are going to bend knee on this. They want to derail the Trump administration any way they can, and I believe that we are looking at a government shutdown. As Ali said, 2 days is a long time. But, when congressional leaders are no longer there, it's not going to happen. Earlier in the show, we were talking to Robert Berger live in Jerusalem, updating everything with Israel and Hamas. This just popped on Axios. U.S. gives Israel and Hamas new proposal to extend the ceasefire deal. I mentioned that White House envoy Steve Witkoff was in the area. Well, he presented an updated U.S. proposal for extending the Gaza ceasefire deal by several weeks in return for additional hostages releases by Hamas and the resumption of humanitarian aid in Gaza. That's from four sources with direct knowledge to Axios. Why does this matter? The proposal, an effort by the Trump administration to buy more time for negotiations and prevent the resumption of the war during the holy month of Ramadan and the Jewish holiday of Passover. The ceasefire, as Robert told us earlier, expired on March 1st. While fighting has not resumed, Israel has cut off humanitarian aid to Gaza to pressure Hamas to agree to a deal to release more hostages. 59 hostages still being held by Hamas in Gaza. Israeli and U.S. officials believe 22 of them still alive, including American Edan Alexander. So a new update there from Axios on the Israel-Hamas situation. Quick break. When we come back, ICE numbers going up as far as deportations. President Trump wants that number to get bigger and bigger. We'll get the latest live from Bloomberg News next on The Mark Arum Show.
When the weather is at its worst, it's an overnight early Sunday morning situation with damaging wind gusts and, yes, even tornadoes in the forecast.
We're at our best.
Christina will be on duty live in the Storm Center overnight Saturday.
Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature has in store.
The severe weather knocking down trees and causing damage and power outages across the metro.
With your severe weather station, 95.5 WSB.
It only happens once a year. It's always fun. It's our signature Sign and Drive event. All you got to do is sign and drive with no money down and no payments for 90 days. Plus, at Beaver Toyota, you'll receive exclusive Beaver benefits with your new car. Benefits like no-charge oil changes and car washes. And yes, even complimentary loaner cars and a lifetime powertrain warranty. It's our annual Sign and Drive event. Now, this is the way car buying should be. Only at Beaver Toyota. We're here to wow you.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Our farmers feed us all. For generations, they've done what's best for the land. So why is the litigation industry threatening Georgia farmers' go-to crop protection tool? Without glyphosate-based herbicides, crop yields will drop, costs will soar, and we'll all see even higher grocery bills. Farmers need to be supported, not controlled. To keep glyphosate available in our state, go to TakeControlGeorgia.com. Paid for by Modern Ag Alliance in support of Georgia farmers.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Hey everyone, this is Belinda, and spring is right around the corner, thank goodness, and pests like termites, ants, and roaches will be out in force. So now is the perfect time to call Arrow Exterminators. Did you know that termites cause over $5 billion in property damage each year? The startling fact is this damage is rarely covered by homeowners insurance. You can protect your home and business with the Centricon system with Always Active. Centricon eliminates the entire colony, so you can stop a termite invasion before it even begins. Arrow Exterminators uses the most effective and environmentally friendly solutions available. Just ask Ken, who treated my home. Arrow Exterminators has been family-owned for over 61 years and offers a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. Schedule your free pest inspection today by calling 888-GO-ARROW or visit arrowexterminators.com and tell them Belinda sent ya.
11:18 on the Mark Arum Show, checking I-85 in Gwinnett County. Let's say hello and good morning to Alex Williams.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Yeah, still seeing some brake lights out of Duluth. I've been scanning the jam cam. No crashes in the way, just slow. 85 southbound from 316, trying to get past Indian Trail Road. You do have right lane construction on Buford Drive northbound, heading toward the Mall of Georgia, just south of I-85, slowing you from Old Peachtree Road. And into Cobb County, you got the left lane construction, the I-20 eastbound collector distributor ramp between 285 and Wesley Chapel. Traffic brought to you by PureTalk.com. It's time to ditch big wireless. Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month on their 5G network. Dial pound 250 and say keyword switch now to save 50% off your first month. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
We have 2 days until government funding expires. Democrats need to decide if they're going to support funding legislation that came over from the House or if they're going to shut down the government.
Senate Leader John Thune speaking on the Senate floor moments ago as we have that government shutdown looming. Welcome back to the Mark Arum Show. Any developments from Capitol Hill, we shall bring them to you live. Right now, though, joining us live from Bloomberg News, Homeland Secretary reporter Ellen Gilmer. Ellen, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So I guess the headline is ICE is doing exactly what President Trump wanted, exceeding the arrests and deportations made last year. What do the numbers look like from ICE so far?
Well, so what we have is a snapshot of the numbers. We know that ICE says it has arrested more than 32,000 people from January 20th until this week. So that's quite a bit. They're on pace. If they were to stay at that pace for the rest of the year, that would be well over 200,000 people, which would eclipse what the Biden administration did in the last fiscal year.
Do we know where these deportations are happening? The reason I ask you, Ellen, is apparently local leaders here in the metro Atlanta area and in North Georgia have been surprised by the shockingly low number of deportations we've seen from ICE in Georgia. So I'm assuming if Georgia isn't getting hit, other areas must be getting hit with these deportations. Do we know where a majority of them are coming from?
Well, that brings me to an important point of clarity. The numbers that they're giving us that we got updated yesterday are just the arrests. So those are people who will then have then been moved into ICE detention facilities in the U.S. and may then be destined for deportation. But it doesn't mean they've been deported yet. They have not provided for us the latest deportation numbers, so there's still a bit of a question mark on exactly how high those numbers are, and it's creating a lot of tension within the administration. Obviously, it's a priority for the White House to keep those deportation numbers high, but it's a big operation to carry that out. It has a lot of steps. It requires a lot of resources, and so there's already been a lot of consternation within ICE about just being able to meet those goals.
All right, so why is it causing tension, and who is angered by what they've done so far?
Well, I think what you'll see is, ICE is trying to promote what it is they are doing so far, which, like we saw, it's these more than 32,000 people arrested so far this year. That includes about half of those, according to ICE, have criminal convictions. About a third of them have criminal charges. Another 8,000 people in that list are just people with regular immigration violations. So those are not like the, quote, worst of the worst that the Trump administration has said they're going after. It's just other people who happen to be swept up while they were going after some criminals. So you're going to see ICE continue to tout those numbers while the deportation numbers are a little harder to pin down. And honestly, there's just some more lead time required to deport people. There's coordination needed with other countries. It's kind of a live issue all the time, negotiating with countries where there's been some recalcitrance in the past about whether they'll take back deportees. There's tension and a disagreement happening right now with Venezuela. So it's kind of a moving target on how they're able to achieve those numbers.
Ellen Gilmore, Homeland Security reporter for Bloomberg News, joining us live on the Mark Arum Show. First couple of weeks of the Trump administration, we saw a lot of headlines, right? We had deportees in a plane, a military plane to India. We had there were a lot of headlines when it came to deportations. We haven't seen them recently. Is that because DOJ has kind of taken over the news cycle? Are we still seeing the Trump administration using military aircraft for these deportations, or is that kind of stopped?
So the last that we've heard from Pentagon officials, I can't say for sure as of today, but the last we've heard from Pentagon officials, they didn't have any military flights scheduled. They're scaling back operations at Guantanamo. Migrants have been flown out of Guantanamo to other places. So, they are still working on that. I do think the DOJ situation has taken over quite a bit of the news cycle, but they are plugging along on all of this. We were told yesterday by ICE that they have maxed out their detention space. They've got immigrants detained in about 47,000 beds right now, and they're working obviously with Congress to get more resources to expand that detention space, but also with the Pentagon and with the Justice Department, which includes the Bureau of Prisons, to see what capacity they have to augment.
Final question for you, Ellen. 32,000 arrests thus far in the second Trump term. Did I see today that President Trump took to social media saying he wants that number to get higher and higher? Did he comment on that today?
He wants that number to get higher and higher for sure. And it's going to be hard to keep this pace. I think that's one of the big questions, is whether ICE is able to keep this pace. Because you think about, if they're going after certain types of immigrants with criminal convictions, there may be a certain amount of low-hanging fruit. There may be other people who are a lot harder to find. And it's ramping up those raids at the end of the day is going to get them the higher numbers.
Ellen Gilmore, Bloomberg News. Ellen, great insight as always. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
There was a local story that local officials were, I'm not saying disappointed, they were surprised by the small number of arrests that ICE has made in the metro Atlanta area, right? That was the big fear for the illegal immigrant community, like ICE was going to come barreling down. But apparently the numbers in metro Atlanta have been, not as great as expected. Longoria's still here. Deborah's still here. We're still here. But I thought that was surprising. But that's a big number. 32,000 arrests from ICE in just the first 2 months of the Trump administration. All right. Going to break away for news, weather, and traffic. When we come back, got some news out of Moscow regarding the Russia-Ukraine ceasefire talks and a possible meeting or phone call between President Trump and President Vladimir Putin. We'll get you caught up to date on that massive story next on The Mark Arum Show.
Hey, it's Rufus the dog for Finley Roofing. You know Rufus, you see him on Finley Roofing trucks and billboards all over the metro area.
I'm famous.
Finley will come to your house and give your roof a thorough roof analysis for free. No obligation.
Free.
No charge.
Any questions?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Me.
Rufus, get your nose out of there.
Roof.
Finley Roofing. See him on the web at finleyroofing.com.
Roof.
Coming up from the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, a Delta classical concert featuring music director Laurent Robert Spano conducting Rimsky-Korsakov's Scheherazade, bringing the many tales of 1001 Arabian Nights to life in a richly hued tapestry. The program begins with Sibelius' enigmatic Tapiola and follows with powerhouse pianist Jae Hong Park performing Scriabin's Piano Concerto, March 27th and 29th at Symphony Hall. Details at aso.org.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
This is Congressman Mike Collins. In just a few short weeks, President Trump and House Republicans have worked to secure the southern border, root out government waste, and restore American energy dominance. Learn more about our efforts at collins.house.gov and let me know how I can best serve you as we turn our country around.
Paid for with official funds from the Office of Representative Mike Collins.
Hey, it's your buddy Shelley Winter here, co-host of The Car Guys with my good friend and brother Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Whatever you want to know about buying, selling, leasing, or maintaining a vehicle, Kevin has your answers.
That's right, Shelley. For over 40 years, I've sold, leased, fixed, and financed pretty much every make and model. I've seen it all. If you have any car questions, we'll have the answers every Saturday at noon.
It's The Car Guys, Saturdays at noon on 95.5 WSB, brought to you by Butler Lexus of South Atlanta.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 2 full years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90NATION.
Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar. Visit orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's orchard.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 11:30. Good morning. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Rocco's European Garage. We could have a few showers or storms later on today, but WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says the real threat is going to be this weekend.
Saturday, starting off with morning rain showers, then watching a line of thunderstorms as they move in from Alabama to the state of Georgia.
And she says the timeline will be from 10 p.m. Saturday through 6 a.m. Sunday, so be sure and stay with us and download the WSB radio app for any weather alerts that may come in. A coalition of attorneys general is suing the Trump administration for its mass cuts in the U.S. Department of Education. New York Attorney General Letitia James says the administration may claim to be stopping waste and fraud, but it is clear, she says, that their only mission is to take away necessary services. New Jersey's Attorney General calling Trump's efforts blatantly illegal, and he says that they will harm millions of students, teachers, and families in New Jersey. The coalition seeking a court order to stop the administration's policies to dismantle the Education Department. The White House pulling the CDC director nomination this morning of Dr. Dave Weldon. The Senate Health Committee announcing this morning that it was canceling a planned hearing on his nomination because of the withdrawal. This is Dr. Dave Weldon speaking back in 2002 on childhood vaccines and autism.
The reality is scientists and medical researchers operate with a system of biases that frankly can be very, very politicized.
No word was given as to why his nomination was pulled this morning, but one source saying HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy said Weldon wasn't ready. Another saying the White House pulled the nomination because it became clear that he did not have the votes for confirmation. Well, we told you about the Peach Pass text scams that are going around. Chances are you got one of them. Well, now the FBI is sounding the alarm. FBI Atlanta saying the number of text messages has jumped dramatically, and they've reported losses in the thousands. They say it could be even more than that. The search is intensifying for a missing American in the Dominican Republic. Jesse Kirsch has more.
It's now been more than a full week since the last known sighting of Sudiksha Kunanki, the 20-year-old U.S. college student who vanished in the Dominican Republic. She was on spring break with friends in Punta Cana, not far from where I am right now.
Authorities have ramped up search efforts by sea, land, and air. ABC News is reporting officials in the country believe that Kunanki may have died by drowning. Well, money may not buy you happiness, but it could buy you health. A study out of Washington University in St. Louis finds the top 20% of high-income college-educated Americans have a smaller risk of heart disease. Low-income people without college degrees are 6 times more likely to suffer heart failure due to clogged arteries, and 3 times more likely to suffer a stroke. The researchers say the wealthier people have more access to health care and medicines, while low-income people suffer more stress due to their economic insecurity. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is down 317 at 41,032. So the Dow's down more than 0.5%. NASDAQ's down more than a full percent, and the S&P's not far behind. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather brought to you by American Crawl Space Solutions. Here's Alex Williams.
Watching some brake lights through downtown, 75-85 northbound. We'll call it sluggish from University Avenue up past Freedom Parkway southbound. Also seeing some delays through the Midtown area starting right around 17th Street. Heads up into DeKalb County, some fire department activity. I think they've been battling a brush fire. Not seeing any more smoke though. 285 westbound, the inner loop. They're blocking the ramp to Moreland Avenue, exit 53 there in DeKalb County. And still seeing the delays mostly in the right lanes. 285 east and northbound, the outer loop. Also in DeKalb from Flat Shoals, getting up to I-20 eastbound due to that left lane construction on that collector distributor ramp that takes you out toward Wesley Chapel Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies today, high 72. Pop-up showers and thunderstorms for the afternoon and evening hours. Lows tonight in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high 75. Saturday, a few rain showers in the morning. Then the line of strong to severe thunderstorms arrive between 10 p.m. on Saturday through 6 a.m. on Sunday. Damaging wind gusts and a few tornadoes possible early Sunday morning.
63 degrees right now in Smyrna and Holly Springs, at 64 in Brazelton. We'll have more news at noon, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
When traffic hits.
I-75 completely shut down north and south between McDonough and Locust Grove.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Brake lights fill in on 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Heavy police fire department activity.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
That's an aide to Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, casting doubt on a possible ceasefire agreement. We'll get the latest from Moscow next on the Mark Arum Show.
That musty smell in your house may be a sign of water in your crawl space. Christina Epworth here. Call American Crawl Space Solutions to make the smell and the water go away.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Listeners, friends, family, neighbors, heck, even coworkers have asking me about QC Kinetics treatment. Hey, it's Mark Arum. No joke. Coworker the other day asked me about QC Kinetics. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. Well, if you're wondering if you're a good candidate, let's see if you answer yes to any of these questions. First question, is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints? Next, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain? And most importantly, do you miss doing the things you love because joint pain is holding you back? If you answer yes to any of those questions, I bet you're a great candidate with my friends at QC Kinetics. Call QC Kinetics right now. Ask for your free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can get you lasting pain relief. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Call 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months. And ask how to get free installation on qualifying bundles. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment and paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
He packed in the animals 2 by 2, ox, a camel, and a kangaroo.
11:37 on the Mark Arum Show, going to Moscow for the very latest on the ceasefire talks in just a second. But first, let's give back to the dear listeners of the Mark Arum Show. Deborah's done it again. Pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival. Willie, Dylan, and more, July 25th at Ameris Bank Amphitheater. Let us do the 17th caller to Blue at 404-872-0750. 17th caller to Blue at 404-872-0750 wins a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and more, July 25th at Ameris Bank Amphitheater, courtesy of the Mark Arum Show and 95.5 WSB. All right, Steve Witkoff, he was just in Qatar. Now he is in Moscow, heading up the Trump administration ceasefire talks. Hopefully we can get an agreement there. Unfortunately, we just heard from a presidential aide to Vladimir Putin casting doubt that Russia's going to sign on to this agreement.
This is nothing more than a temporary respite for the Ukrainian military, and nothing more. We believe that our goal is a long-term peaceful settlement. That is what we are striving for. A peaceful settlement that takes into account the legitimate interests of our country.
All right, so that's an aide to President Putin. Frederick Plykin, CNN's reporter in Moscow moments ago.
Well, the Russians are saying they believe that it's something that would benefit the Ukrainians more than it would the Russians. The Russians are also saying, Wolf, that they want a broader peace plan to be negotiated before some sort of ceasefire takes hold. Now, the Russians are also saying that that does not necessarily mean that they're completely rejecting the idea of a ceasefire, but that they certainly have some other ideas as well. I do also have some other breaking news for you, by the way, Wolf. I just got word from the Kremlin saying that tonight there would not be a phone call between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. I just asked the Kremlin spokesman about that, and he said, no, not today. Now, of course, all of this, Wolf, comes as the Russians continue to make major gains, especially in that Kursk region in the southwest of Russia, where they're trying to oust Ukrainian troops. They do believe that they're on the verge of doing that, and they say to them it is an absolutely key thing. Here's what's going on.
A brazen attack. Russian troops sneaking through a gas pipeline to target Ukrainian positions. The assault is starting, the soldier says. The Russians saying thanks to this assault, they've all but taken the town Suja, one of Ukraine's last footholds on Russian territory. Kremlin-controlled TV in breaking news mode, hailing the gains. This is what the most important victory of the Russian spirit and weapons looks like, the host says. The Russians have been taking territory in multiple areas along the front line in recent days, leaving some in Moscow wondering why they should even bother with the Trump administration ceasefire deal. Now Trump, like an ultimatum, says, you stop the war because Ukraine is ready for a ceasefire, this man says. But what's the point? What ultimatum? We're dominating on the battlefield. After the Ukrainians agreed to a 30-day ceasefire in meetings with the Trump administration's negotiators, the U.S. says now it's time for Moscow to do the same.
They're probably processing the news the same as the rest of the world is, so we hope to have a positive answer from them. The ball is truly in their court.
But so far, the Kremlin hasn't even picked the ball up yet. Russian President Vladimir Putin silent on the issue, and his spokesman saying they're waiting to hear from the U.S. While the foreign minister, in an interview with U.S. bloggers, merely stated what Russia isn't willing to allow, like tolerating NATO peacekeepers in Ukraine.
under any conditions. Well, nobody is talking to us. They keep saying nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, but they do everything about Russia without Russia.
This, as the Trump administration is saying, it's eagerly waiting to hear from the Russians, whose forces continue to grind down Ukraine's defenses.
Are expecting to hear from Vladimir Putin in the next couple of minutes as to how he feels about this proposed ceasefire agreement. He is about to start a press conference with Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, where the Kremlin has already said they expect Putin to also speak about that possible ceasefire agreement as well.
Frederick Pleiken moments ago in Moscow. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. I told you at the beginning of the show, middle of the show. I don't see any incentive for Vladimir Putin to sign off on the ceasefire deal. That's basically what he just said. And I guess the bigger headline in that might be there's going to be no phone call this evening between President Trump and President Putin, which we had hoped. Any big developments there in the Russia-Ukraine ceasefire talks, we'll bring it to you live here on 95.5 WSB. Speaking of President Trump, earlier in the show, we told you he is going to enact a 200% tariff on all alcohol from European nations. So you get that French champagne, right? Champagne is only available in France. Anything else is just sparkling wine. There's also tariff news when it comes to beer drinkers here in the U.S. What can you tell us, Deborah Green?
Okay, beer drinkers, the tariffs are coming for you. The 25% hike on aluminum from Canada, that's officially kicking in. And the Beer Institute says it's going to be forced to pass those costs on to the consumers. Even when they used recycled aluminum, their costs are going to raise by $1.4 billion annually. So expect to pay a couple more for those 30 racks, Kobe.
Yeah, I was about to say, we got to get Kobe in here. But little Gnocchi gets those 30 racks. I'd never even heard of a 30 rack. We are such, it's not just America, but alcohol is such an important thing for humans. Right, we look at all the tariff news. All right, the aluminum tariff. Forget about the steel and building cars. We're like, what are we going to do with the beer cans? Right, Canada's like, pull all American alcohol off the shelves. We're going to tax bourbon from Kentucky. We're going to hit it with tariffs. And now President Trump's like, the European Union threatens 50% tariff on blue jeans. And we go, all right, 200% tariff on booze. It's remarkable. And this isn't anything new. You know, like beer was the first alcoholic beverage ever brewed like 4,000 years ago by the Egyptians. Wine's been around for millennium. It's just puts it in stark view that we really care a lot about alcohol. 200% tariff on booze. That I wonder if that impacts Erickson. He's one of those fancy. He's a bourbon guy though, isn't he? He's not buying those fancy scotches from Scotland.
I don't think so.
All right. Anyway.
American made.
Yeah, the battle begins. I've gone 2 hours and 44 minutes without talking about the stock market. It's down. I wish I had better news. The Dow's down 350 points. 316 points now. NASDAQ's down 200 points. So Dow continues to fall, but not 1,000 points or anything like that. We'll continue to monitor the stock market throughout the day on 95.5 WSB. When we come back, Deborah's got an update on that big biolab fire out in Rockdale County, a new development there. Deborah will tell us. Hey, congrats to Matt in Duluth. Duluth is on fire. He won a pair of tickets to see the Outlaw Festival. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan at Ameris Bank Amphitheater, courtesy of The Mark Arum Show and WSB. Speaking of The Mark Arum Show and WSB Radio, follow us on socials at Mark Arum at WSB Radio.
Get the WSB Radio app.
This story is breaking right now.
Get notifications from your source for news.
If you have the WSB Radio app, then you saw the breaking news.
Get the WSB Radio app.
Don't miss a thing with the WSB app.
Download it from the App Store today.
Buckle up, friends. I've got a jaw-dropping deal from my pals at Reliable. Hey, it's Mark Arum here. Check this out, folks. You can get a free furnace with the purchase of a qualifying air conditioner. Unbelievable. Get your free consultation by going to ReliableAir.com. That's ReliableAir.com. And check it out. Next day installation guarantee, or they pay you $500. Free furnace with the purchase of a qualifying air conditioner. ReliableAir.com.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Our farmers feed us all. For generations, they've done what's best for the land. So why is the litigation industry threatening Georgia farmers' go-to crop protection tool? Without glyphosate-based herbicides, crop yields will drop, costs will soar, and we'll all see even higher grocery bills. Farmers need to be supported, not controlled. To keep glyphosate available in our state, go to TakeControlGeorgia.com. Paid for by Modern Ag Alliance in support of Georgia farmers.
Healthy, beautiful skin can be yours with Olansky Dermatology. Their expert team offers personalized care for medical, Mohs, surgery, and aesthetic skincare needs. Schedule 24/7 online with their Cumming, Roswell, or Buckhead locations, including new evening and Saturday hours in Buckhead. With 40 years of excellence and over 5,000 five-star Google reviews, trust Atlanta's top-rated dermatology practice. Visit OlanskyDermatology.com or call today. Olansky Dermatology and Aesthetics, where everyone deserves healthy skin.
At Ameris Bank, we're invested in the success of your business. Our local bankers are ready to help you improve your cash flow, optimize your operating accounts, and access financing when you need it. From treasury services and digital banking to loans and lines of credit, we offer tailored solutions to help your business thrive. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. Visit amerisbank.com/withyourbusiness or walk into one of our branches today to get started. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All loans subject to credit approval.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and for over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks.
Spring is the perfect time to update your home, and America's Best Choice makes it easy with these spring specials. Highest quality, energy-efficient windows starting at just $299. Take 10% off a new deck and create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwin.com today to schedule your free consultation.
Your family is so ready to celebrate spring. Get outdoors, relax, and spend quality time together. Do it in your own backyard in a Bullfrog hot tub from Brown's Pools and Spas. Only Bullfrog offers the Jetpack Therapy system, allowing you to customize each seat to fit every body in your family. Right now through the 24th, Brown's is offering a free luxury package upgrade on select models or instant rebates up to $1,000. Celebrating 50 years of Brown's Pools and Spas. BrownsPools.com.
Mom and Dad seem different after a European-style holiday on MSC Cruises.
Call us Cloud and Yvette.
The ship had restaurants, shops, and nightlife.
La Galleria.
And of course, American touches, like an aqua park and a sweets shop.
American je ne sais quoi.
Mom, you're from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, Kevin.
Book now and save up to 35% off, plus kids sail free. MSC Cruises. Let's holiday. To book, visit msccruises.com or contact your travel advisor. Restrictions apply. Ships registered in Panama and Malta.
At D. Geller & Sons Spring Bridal event, March 21st through 23rd, you're going to have the opportunity to work with their expert jewelers to redesign your engagement ring or any special piece into something new and extraordinary. And with up to $3,000 in savings or 0% APR for 3 years, your dream redesign is within reach. So make an appointment today at dgeller.com. Walk-ins are welcome, but scheduling guarantees you personalized attention at D. Geller & Son, Atlanta's trusted jeweler since 1939.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pegol is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
11:50 on the Mark Arum Show. Construction set up. Guess where, friends? I-20, DeKalb County. What can you tell us, Alex Williams?
Yeah, no surprise here, Mark. You got it on that collector distributor ramp coming from 285 I-20 eastbound to Wesley Chapel. It's in the left lane of that collector distributor ramp. That's why you're seeing the 285 ramping delays there. Once you get past that and you're on I-20, DOT says you also got left lane construction approaching Panola Road. If you're traveling on the West Freeway, I-20 eastbound, just some brake lights. Nothing in your way, though. No crashes or stalls. 20 eastbound on an off the brakes from Riverside Parkway over to that west side perimeter, with downtown sluggish, 75-85 northbound University Avenue up to Peachtree Pine Street. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Rain amounts averaging 1/2 to 1 inch, with isolated 2-inch totals possible. The severe weather risk, level 3, north and west of the perimeter.
This is not a real forecast
and
for
a
right
level
now.
2 elsewhere.
Just FYI, this is a Throwback Thursday. Retired WSB meteorologist Kirk Mellish celebrates his birthday today. I have no idea how old Kirk is, but he's living his best life in retirement. I hadn't heard Kirk's voice. I haven't seen Kirk in a while. Kirk, where are you, Modi? Text me. I'll take you out for your birthday. Happy birthday to retired WSB meteorologist Kirk Mellish. It's also Emil Hirsch's birthday. You might remember him as started as a Georgia Tech student in the movie Into the Wild.
Is there anybody here?
That's a really good movie. He was just in a poker movie called Dead Money, filmed in Atlanta.
Oh, really?
Horrible movie. One of the all-time worst movies I've ever seen. And he was fine. It was just not a good movie. And I almost was in that movie.
Oh, really?
They needed someone to be a poker dealer in a scene. My buddy was working with the movie. He's like, hey, can you come over? I was like, no. I'm like, I'm not a good dealer anyway. And I couldn't do it. But I could have been like a non-featured extra in that. But
Not a bad movie.
Ooh.
Was it bad acting or just like
No, the
they didn't
acting was
portray
great. It was just,
the
yeah.
game right?
It
Like
was
since
just-
it was about poker.
No, they nailed the poker. I mean, it was just not a good movie. No offense. He was good. The acting was good. It was filmed in Atlanta, set in Atlanta, but not a great movie. One more birthday cut. This guy's a great actor.
Brainerd. Yeah. Home of Paul Bunyan, Babe the Blue
William
Ox.
H. Macy turned
Babe the Blue Ox.
75 years old. Acted in one of the most uncomfortable scenes ever in Boogie Nights.
Yes.
The driveway scene?
Yeah.
William H. Macy, 75 years old. All right, updating a story that will not go away. The BioLab fire and the infamous plume. What can you tell us this morning, Deborah?
Oh, that plume. The group Community Action Now, they are partnering with Morehouse School of Medicine researchers to assess the impact of that biochemical fire in the community a couple months ago. Now, they're asking people that was affected by it to come forward and share their experiences, and particularly any health issues they've had since the plume. One of the women that came forward said her voice has completely changed, and she just doesn't even sound like she used to months ago. So if you want to check it out, you go to communityactionnow.org, and you can participate there.
Wow, yeah, definitely. CommunityAction.org or CommunityActionNow.org. I'll find the just do it. Yeah, that's crazy. Imagine your voice changed. Unless it was changed for the better.
Right. Unless it got deeper or something like that, I'd be like,
Speaking
oh
of
my gosh.
voices, can I replay that cut from the translator? Do you think I'm going to play some audio from an aide to Vladimir Putin, right? Aide to Vladimir Putin, right-hand man for Putin. And this is the translator voice they got for him.
This is nothing more than a temporary respite for the Ukrainian military.
Do you think that guy's
and
mad?
nothing
Like,
more.
you couldn't get a
we believe
manlier
that our goal is a long-term
translator?
peaceful settlement.
Like,
that is what we are striving
let me-
for. This
like he's and then the translator's voice is like, well,
is nothing more than a temporary respite for the Ukrainian military.
I think
Who provides the translator?
I have
Is
no
it
idea.
Them or
But I would imagine the Russian general, the aide to Putin's like, that's the translator voice. Hello. I'm the Russian presidential aide. Hello. I love a good archaeological story and a fantastic archaeological find, Deborah. What can you tell me?
Archaeologists uncovered the oldest known partial face fossil of a human ancestor. This is really cool. It's part of a cheekbone, and it was found in northern Spain. It's estimated to be about 1.4 million years old. And the reason this is a big deal is because it shows evidence that the early humans migrated into Europe and Asia a lot sooner than previously thought. Now, it's not a Homo sapien, and it's similar to Homo erectus, but it's also not a Neanderthal, so they're still trying to figure it out.
Wow. All right. So 1.4. And it's so weird. They're just a cheekbone. And the paleontologist, the archaeologist, like, oh, they see it. They're like, oh, it's a cheekbone.
Yeah. How would you even know that?
But Deborah's right. The biggest headline there is, when did our ancestors leave Africa for Europe? That moves the timeline back a lot. 1.4 million years old. And don't get me started on when people started coming to North America, South America. been totally debunked. Everything we learned in school about human history. Well, they're just, well, in hindsight, it was wrong. I wouldn't call it a lie, but certainly wrong. Great story. Thanks, Deborah.
Longoria's Fact of the Day.
All right, today's National Earmuffs Day, and Chester Greenwood, a 15-year-old, invented earmuffs and patented the modern earmuff design in 1877, and his factory produced over 400,000 pairs in a year by 1936.
So, hold on, rewind. The earmuff was invented in 1877?
Yeah, by Chester Greenwood, a 15-year-old.
Chester Copperpot.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I would imagine our human ancestors 1.4 million years ago made earmuffs.
Well, maybe they didn't call them earmuffs.
Oh, so they just called them
ear covers.
Right? Don't you think they would have skinned a Siberian tooth tiger?
They could have.
And made coverings for the... Yeah. Okay. I mean, all right, I'm not...
He patented in 1877.
All right, the patent.
Yeah.
But
there were... An inventor, it says.
There were humans in the Ice Age that were like, my ears are freezing.
Yeah, but I don't think they invented it. They just probably covered their ears, just like they covered their body.
Well, that's inventing.
I don't know if that's...
Yeah, of course. I don't want to take shade from Chester Copperpot and his patent, but... Greenwood. I bet
he was 15.
6,000 years ago, there was someone who was like, "Wow, my ears are freezing. Give me some of that. Give me some of that deer hide. I'm gonna make earmuffs on there."
Yeah,
all right.
Earmuffs.
Yeah, the most famous earmuffs of all time. Old school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can say whatever you want. Just say earmuffs.
Yeah.
Earmuffs. All right. Good fact of the day, Longoria.
And now, are you guys ready for the Mark Arum star of the show?
I'm not going to lie. Today was one of our finest efforts collectively. It was a fantastic show. If you missed it, check out the WSB radio app. I think you can rewind or hit This was a good show. 2 days in a row. We crushed it. Me, Deborah, Longoria, Blue, all stars of the show. Good job. And our guests. A plethora of guests. Allie Picorn from ABC News with the latest on the budget battle. Will we or won't we see a government shutdown? Robert Berger joined us live in Jerusalem. Savannah Ciccarella from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on that huge data center story. $9 billion data center scheduled for Troup County. Peter Greenberg, our travel expert, joined us from New York City. Ellen Gilmer, Homeland Security reporter for Bloomberg News, gets a star of the show, as does Rory O'Neill. And I believe that's it. Oh, Taisha Fernandez. How could I forget Ty? And Ashley Frasca made hash brown casserole. Good job, everybody. All right, social media is active throughout the day. Hook it up at Mark Arum, MarkArum.